Well, apparently, this Wacky TV fellow, says that you've lied about him. I think, and he's asking just to be let in to have a quick chat and just to kind of like hash out
No,
a
I'm
couple
actually not. I'm not going to allow that because he was in the other stream. Like, I don't want to talk, and I'll tell you why. Listen,
Mhm.
the Gamma TV stream, I saw him lie after lie about me. He thinks he knows me. He said that, oh, I think that he and his wife are no longer together, blah, blah. That's not true. And I can send you emails to prove that this guy is a stalker. He emailed me and said, hey, Brian, I think we could be good friends. And then he emails me and says, hey, I drive, as if he was going to drive to meet me. This guy is a stalker. He's a freak. And I want nothing to do with this wacky guy. And he that's all he does. He literally stalks me and sends me these emails and says things as far as, oh, I think we could be friends. Constantly wanting to be my friend, constantly wanting to drive to me. And it's like a stalker.
Aren't you in America?
Sniper wolf. Well, remember, I was living in England for 3 years.
Ah, okay.
So, and I have ties there. Like my wife currently is in England for a few months. And so yeah, so he felt that he wanted to wait until I get back to his little country and drive there. No, it's weird. This Wacky TV guy, I don't know where he came from. I think he's Brandon Keating's friend because Brandon Keating has been feeding him lies to use as a YouTube commentary to spread all these lies. But if you really look at what Wacky TV says, especially in his latest video, he is salty. He says some things about me that aren't even true. And then he goes and says, "Oh, how does he get thousands of views? This? How does he do this? How does he do that?"
You've never spoken to this guy before. It's just somebody that Brian Keating knows.
Oh no, I've spoken to this guy, this Wacky TV. I mean, Holly and I both ran into him. I think it was like in 2020 or 2021 when he did his first video on our subject. And he claims that I'm stalking him. If you go to his YouTube channel on his community post, this is how bad this guy is. Someone sent me a tweet that said, hey, this is Wacky's body floating down river. And it was a picture of a floaty in a pool. And I just laughed at it. It was an LOL. And Wacky goes on his community post and goes, oh my God, see, Futuristichub is lying about my death. I mean, or laughing about my death. I'm sorry. Like, honestly, unbelievable, this guy. So, I mean, he's here for the drama. If you let Wacky TV in here, that's all it's going to be. So I'll tell you what. I'll be okay with Wacky TV to come in here, but take everything he says with an absolute grain of salt, because all this guy wants to do is drama. He has never, ever told the truth, even though I sent him his final email and said, he has the power to tell the truth, but instead the truth is very boring. And so he doesn't care. He's going to ignore everything. So yeah, you can bring him in here. He'll probably cut his head off.
Okay. If you want to hop over to the Discord, if you go into the open live there, just so I can drag him in, just easier than trying to like create a group and stuff like that. Here we are. I'll see you in a second. All right.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, just hop in the waiting room, then hop in. Fab. One moment. Uno momento. Okay. Apparently he's about to chop his head off. Sounds a bit rough. Okay, let's see if Brian... here he is. He's in general. And I've got him. Here you are. You're back. Fab. I guess I thought he was listening to the stream. I don't know. Okay, 1 second. Let me see if is he in my Discord? I don't believe he is. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, he's just had to create a Discord account. That's why he's... Okay. One moment.
What, is he blocked or something? Or
I think it's something to do with his account age. In the meantime, are you okay? Actually, let me see. He might not be. I think he should be able to just use his regular Discord account, surely.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh,
yes, that's right, Gamma. I'm referring to Wacky's statements.
There we are. Okay.
That guy is wacky. It's in the name. He's a wacko.
Speaking of the devil, here he is.
Hold on a second. Someone you blocked has joined. If you leave, they'll still be blocked. Oh, cool. I'll stay here.
Okay, you can hear him?
Hello.
Yep.
Fantastic.
What's up, wacko?
What's going on, Brian? Long time no see. How you doing?
No, not a long time. You emailed me wanting to meet up with me like 3 days ago. What do you want?
You mean that very obvious joke? I was like, Brian, we could be really good friends.
It's not obvious. It's not obvious.
You really think I'm going to drive to you?
It's not obvious. If it was, you'd get a JK LOL. What do you want?
You don't have to put LOL every time you're joking.
What do you want, buddy?
Well, you say that I'm stalking you. Can I ask you a question? Who starts every conversation?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's the one who made a video called Futuristichub as a scammer? Like what? 2 days?
That is true. But if you're going to say that,
hold on a second. Oh, I've been gone 1 year, and all of a sudden you show up. Look, it's in your video, dude. So who's the stalker?
Well, to be fair to him,
it's not exactly stalking, though, is it? I mean, you're making public videos on YouTube.com.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's just make a public video after being gone for 1 year about a specific person.
Well, I feel like
the video wasn't about you being gone for a year.
I feel like somebody making a public commentary. Like, you can choose to ignore that. You can choose to watch it if you want to. Like, you know, he's a relatively small commentator. I wouldn't call that bullying or harassment or stalking or. He's just made a YouTube video, right?
No. Honestly, no. You should go to a second channel. He said he has titles like "Boogie is an idiot," "So and so is a moron."
He is an idiot.
It doesn't matter, man.
Having cancer.
Having titles like that. That's not good, man.
Does it upset you?
An idiot. Does
it upset you, Brian?
It just doesn't look good, dude. You look like a wacko.
Are your feelings hurt?
You're a wacko.
How am I a wacko? When you're laughing at
you're a wacko, and you know what? You mocked the video that I uploaded by saying, "Oh, you know, I've got these glasses, these special glasses, and they have power."
Okay, bear in mind, 2 people are British here. I just want to point that out. But anyway,
you're outnumbered, I'm afraid.
You are outnumbered. I'm sorry to say that, but you do sort of complain about this whole bullying thing, and you seem to make this big issue that I said about this dead body image. I even said in the community post, I have no issue with it. It's just ironic that someone that's crying about getting bullied laughs about someone else's dead body. It's a bit weird, don't you think?
First of all, who said it was a dead body? Why don't you go to the screenshot? It's sitting right there.
Well, it doesn't really matter who said what.
Oh, it does matter. It does matter.
The way you did.
It does. It was an LOL.
Somebody sent a little Lilo in the pool. I've got it pulled up on the screen right now. Somebody sent a little
honestly,
Lilo in the
you
pool,
are salty as
and then
hell.
said, "What about actual screenshot of Wacky's body floating down a river?"
Yeah.
And then you react to the laughing face and say, "Lol."
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not even necessarily an issue. It doesn't really
really?
matter.
Okay, so if it wasn't... Wait, hold on a second. If it wasn't...
Because I'm pointing out the hypocrisy about the bullying thing. Because you cry about being bullied, but then you do stuff like that.
Excuse me.
Especially with the whole death threats, Brian. We can go through the amount of death threats.
I really don't care.
Well, exactly, you don't care.
Whoa. Gentlemen. Okay? Let's just make sure we're talking one at a time. Make sure this is productive. I understand you guys have a history together. Emotions are very, very high.
Oh, we do.
But just to make sure that we're kind of, off on a productive kind of drama start, okay?
No, I understand. I want to keep to the facts, though, and actually a mature topic, not this drama that this guy obviously wants to start. So,
I will
Wacky,
say,
why are you really here?
At least my relation that I'd seen, I guess to put the question to you, between you and Wacky, there is a video here from, I think, a year ago, saying having a chat with Futuristichub, where I believe do you call him?
We arranged to have a call together. That was a mutual agreement. That call.
So it
Let me
seems
tell you
like
this: the only time we have a call together is when he makes threats to make videos about
I've
me
never
or
made
whatnot.
what?
Yes, you have. You
That's
have
just-
reached out to me. Yes, you have. You have reached out to me and said, "Come on,
Proof?
Brian, let's VC." Blah blah
Proof?
blah. I have emails from you
Proof?
asking me, and then you're going to make these videos, and then you said, "Oh, Brian, I don't believe you, and I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to continue doing that unless I VC with you." Blah blah blah. I've heard it, dude. It's the song and dance.
So you're saying that he blackmailed you into having a VC with him?
Yes.
It's not
Yes,
exactly
he does.
okay, but proof.
Yes, he does.
What do you mean blackmail?
Do you
When
have-
have I blackmailed you into
Is there
getting a VC?
screenshots?
He does.
No, yeah, honestly, I'd like to see
I will
these.
I will send you emails, but there's emails that actually show him literally saying, "Listen, no, Brian, everyone knows you're I don't want to say it because you're live, but the C
It's fine.
word."
You can say it.
And it's ridiculous, dude, how you try to drag me out and blackmail me just
You can say it. You can say your account,
VC
Brian.
with you.
Oh, I say it far too
I'm
much.
sorry,
Don't
what?
worry.
CUNT, Brian. See you next Tuesday. You can say it.
Listen,
This isn't
It's
TikTok
okay.
live. This is
I don't
YouTube. I
mind.
swear.
I know. I've never said that, but the way you go about it, dude, the
That's
way
a
you
lie.
the way you make targets and target harassment, the way you ask people or even myself to VC with you, that is damn right intrusion, dude. Like the emails.
How's that
that I
intrusion
have
if you
from
agree to these VCs?
I
It's
didn't
not like
agree,
he's
though,
spam
when it
calling
came
you
to
to
You
try
how
and
did
you
force
agree.
you
How,
into
does
the
someone,
call,
how do I
suppose,
force you
right?
into a VC? Yeah. What are you
No,
stupid? How do I force you into a call?
it's how you act, because you say, "Oh, another video is coming out. Like you should get on VC so
Can I just
we can
say
talk
something
about
else? Because
this,
you've been
blah,
talking
blah,
for a
blah."
while. Can I have a go now, please? Can I have the mic?
Dude, you've been talking. Go
Yeah,
for it.
you've been talking
State
over
your
me
case.
though. I'm
State your case.
all right. Thank you. So just this year alone, you have sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, and 51 emails this year alone. How am I stalking you?
Yes,
Go.
they are responses. They are responses.
They are not
from
responses. You start every single
Yes,
conversation.
They are
you start-
responses.
One
How do I
second.
respond?
Gentlemen.
You
Obviously,
start the
if these are
conversation.
emails back
Literally
and forth,
responses.
we have email chains, right? So who starts the email chain?
Yes.
Brian does. I can show you. Let me screen share. Go on, let's show it on stream. Since we're being so honest here.
Okay.
Let me
Brian, are
see.
you hopping into the screen share?
The only way he gets an email from me is when he
This is
does
where it
a
started.
video on me.
Well,
So we got
if he
Saturday,
wants to
10th of the
talk
5th,
about you
2025.
in a public square, that's totally okay, right? I mean, we're
Look at-
YouTubers.
well,
we
when you
kind of
make-
make
well,
videos
when
on
All
you
the
make
blue
topics.
is Brian. These are all
Unfortunately-
responses to him. These are all
unfortunately, it's-
responses to him.
Unfortunately, it's not okay because it's in an active lawsuit.
Look who
and
sent the
he
last
already
one.
knows.
Look
He
who sent
already
the last one.
knows
Never even responded.
the information.
You
That's
got
the problem. He
I never
knows.
even responded to
He
him.
knows the facts.
Oh, he
He's
sent me
got
another one.
inside
He sent
information.
another one. I never even responded to this one. He sent another one. Literally last
can't see
Thursday.
anything.
It is very
I can't see anything. What are you showing?
Can you see this on your stream?
I can see it. Yeah. Are you in the screen share, Brian?
He probably doesn't know how to use it. Bless him.
No.
If you go into the Discord call, and then you can see me, you, Wacky, and you see that he's live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Click
Yeah.
on that, and then hop into the stream.
I mean, he has access to his own emails. I'm sure.
I don't know. Where
Doesn't exactly. I've closed it now. You don't really need to
Well, to
see
be
it
fair,
anymore.
Brian-
You've got the access to your
Brian did say that he does start the email chains, but it
Yes.
but it only says that but he says that he only shows them or he only sends you messages when he wants to.
Well, yeah. Look, when I saw this is the first thing that I said to him when it comes to his little scammer video. I said, nothing you say will change anything. A simple block is all it takes. It's my story.
Yeah.
My untold truth is now out there. And then I proceed to call him a troll. And then I say a strong block, Brian. That's literally it. But the responses this guy comes out with are just ridiculous. They really are. They're ridiculous.
Mhm.
And then when he knows that he can't get a public response out of me, then he proceeds with these threats. And then he proceeds with all of these things that
it sounds like
sorry, can we go
you engage in a back
threats?
and forth with him, to be fair, Brian, right? Like, sure, like nobody likes like people talking about them online commentary. It can be harsh, it can be irreverent. Sometimes it can be nasty. Sometimes people misunderstand things or characterize things in a way you wouldn't like, or they don't have a full grasp of the truth, or, you know. But you can ignore it. But then going out and trying to, like, you know, send him emails and constantly engaging with him, it sounds like you're then getting into a situation when you're engaging back and forth with each other. That's not him stalking you. You're just having a conversation, right?
No, I have absolutely no problem with emailing him responses. That's actually not a problem, because I'm giving him good information in these emails. Information that potentially could help him understand, but he ignores it. You can already tell by his videos that he does not care about the truth.
But then ignore
What's the truth, Brian?
Yes, I have ignored him up until, you know, he was brought into this chat.
You haven't ignored me. You're the last person that reached out to me. I ignored you. You reached out to me Thursday, and I ignored you. I literally just showed the email on stream. You were the last one to email me, and I didn't reply.
Okay. Are you talking? Okay, that's because you showed up on a Gamma's stream, and it was not even a bad email either. I literally told you, if you're making a video
that's
about
good then.
me,
That's good for you then. At least it wasn't a bad email.
Then hold the line, because there's going to be something that I'm going to be able to bring out. That's all it was, literally. Because you have it on your Twitter, you have it on your, you know, your comments, you have it on your YouTube saying that you're making another video about this.
But it doesn't seem like you are ignoring him, to be fair. If you've sent him like 54, was that in the last year, Wacky?
Yeah, but those
this was just this year. This was literally just starting.
Oh, 2025, the last 5 months.
So about 2. This has been. Yeah, this is just no 2 weeks. But this has been the first 2 weeks, because before my video, I hadn't spoken to him since last year, possibly. Okay. So that was just in the past 2 weeks, which is pretty mental. Go outside.
I mean, that seems harsh.
Actually
I mean, one video, 51 emails. It's a bit mad.
Of course it's harsh. This guy is nothing but harsh. He doesn't care. He just wants to stir up drama. He doesn't want to be nice about anything. He doesn't want to listen to anything. He doesn't want to listen to the truth.
Not exactly harsh, though, is it? I mean, at 17 years old, you were saying you were going to kill my family. Am I really?
No. I never said I would kill your family. That is ridiculous.
Then what's with the email then of you saying that you admitted you were wrong?
Why don't you show proof of the 7 videos?
Well, I would, but you fucking took down the Twitter account.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I did what?
The Wildcraft Twitter account, the one you originally reached out to me on in January 2021.
Is there actually proof you knew who was even running any of these accounts? This is Twitter we're talking about.
Are you asking him for proof, or are you denying that was you?
It definitely did happen.
I knew for a fact. No. I know for a fact. I know for a fact. I've never threatened him like that. And
yes, you have.
He should have shown that proof for making that allegation.
Did you run that Twitter account?
No.
He did. But anyway, we'll move on from that. It's irrelevant. But
no. He's ignoring the fact that Holly actually exists as a human being. That's one thing you're not going to do,
right?
Wacky.
So his wife.
Yeah.
If that threat was made, he
right. She has a temper.
And I bet you anything who made that threat.
It very well could have been.
Okay. So it was your wife who said that.
I addressed this issue at one point in these emails, saying, why should I forgive you? It was about when we were talking about forgiveness, Brian, in the emails. And I was saying, why would I forgive you when you said this? And you said, you don't need to forgive me. And then you went on. So you addressed that it did happen. And I'm just trying to find it now, because this definitely did happen.
I didn't say forgive me for any death threats. I just said forgive me for anything I may have said or whatever done in the emails.
Why wouldn't you say I didn't say the death threats then? That's a bit weird.
I guess. What are you talking about?
One sec.
Well, I'll show you in a minute. Hang on, if I can find it.
Let's go ahead. You find the email.
Let's not complicate things, Wacky. It's an A and B conversation. All right.
It's all right. He's just trying to find the proof that you asked for. I guess while he's finding that, I was just asked by the chat to ask you about a Lizard Squad video. I've got no idea what this is in reference to, but somebody seems very, very persistent.
Oh yeah, I wrapped that. That was fun.
Okay, I'm gonna just screenshot.
What about the Lizard Squad video?
Literally, please ask him about the Lizard Squad video. It is very important. That's all I've got. What's the deal with that? I guess while Wacky finds the email.
Okay.
I found it. I just send it to you.
It's a meme. It's a meme, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a meme. It's a fun video. the way I notice the way Wacky operates is he interprets things in his own way, the way he wants to interpret them. He doesn't look at the facts, the truth, or the underlining any conversation. He looks at it his own way. And you know what? Case in point, his YouTube channel, his post. He even said it was a dead body, and it's not a dead body. It said body.
It's kind of still missing the point.
Again, no, it's not missing the point. Everything that you have read or anything that you see, anything, whatever, you make up things in between. That's how you operate.
So I literally if you can see in the email, I mentioned that he threatened my family and myself, and he never denies it in the email. He just says, I apologize for that.
Wait.
No.
Wait, can I show that on stream or no?
Let me just check real quick, because I don't want to leak Brian's email again.
So I said I apologize.
Yeah, you should be able to show it.
Okay.
Did you not understand the word that?
Yeah, you did apologize for that. What do you mean by that, though?
Because you said somebody must have threatened you. Even if it's my own wife, who I still feel very responsible for, and whatnot, I am allowed to.
I said, how can I forgive someone who threatened my family?
Hey, look, if anybody in this family,
just to hash this out before we devolve, just to get the facts on the table, let me just read out this email, okay? So Wacky says, my first video on you was never bullying. You took it to the extreme, which makes you in the wrong. How can I forgive somebody who threatened my family and myself when I was considered a child? You may play the autism card, but you were still the adult. Your true colours were shown to me many years ago. This was when I was still a fan of the content. Oh boy, did that change. And then in response, Brian says, I've already apologised for that. Also, yes, I lost my temper because the lawsuit I was in was frauds, attacking Holly and I. I admitted being in the wrong for that meltdown. These same frauds you befriended are what's bad for you. If you actually understood the facts and not taken the side that lost the lawsuit in appeal, then none of that would have happened. The judge was corrupt, so we had no choice but to appeal and win, and we won. Also, autism is a very valid reason. A person's social skills matter. What you experienced from me was a real autistic meltdown, which is an actual medical term. The only thing I can do after the meltdown is apologize and move on to better things. I don't recall your first video, but I know you have not told the truth about my cases in them. You continue to make baseless claims. I provide actual evidence, including evidence of Brandon wanting to settle so he doesn't get fucked after the courts find the fraud and render judgment. I don't even want to know what Brandon filed in Bankruptcy court. My God, he told the court he won the FH lawsuit. That's, the Futuristichub lawsuit. That's called bankruptcy fraud. So yes, I'm dealing with actual fraudsters. This is why I need to help funding the issues. This is why I need help funding the issues, pardon me. Also, if I don't get a reasonable goal, my brother is telling the website to refund everyone back. I think you should consider my side, because I've tried to tell you Brandon brainwashed you. It is not too late to see the light. You can still be a fan of the content. People argue and fight. I'm not holding a gun to your head. I know one day you'll look back and see through your hate. God will peel back the hate you have for me and allow you to see the peaceful side, the side of truth and justice. Amen. Okay.
So beautiful. Amen.
There you go. So as you can see, he acknowledges it, never denies it.
I acknowledge we had issues, but I don't acknowledge.
You acknowledged specifically the death threats and the threats.
No. I would have said I already apologized for giving you or for threatening to do this and do that. I will say this right now. You could probably find an email where I probably said I would punch you or somebody on the line.
Slit my wrist. No, actually, because you reacted to it in my previous video. I showed DMs on Discord of Brian saying he wish it was legal to kill me.
We need to know, though, the sources, because you're getting emails directly from me, and I won't refute that.
That was on Discord. They weren't emails.
This is my email, and that's totally fine. But if you're going to talk about Twitter, we all know Brian. You got so many people. It was Discord,
Brian. It was Discord.
You got so many people on Twitter, and so many of these fake accounts that you have.
It was Discord. It was Discord. It was literally where we VC'd. I know it was you.
So you can't, again, we can't tell who is who.
Okay, I'm not going to because I VC'd you that same day.
I'm not going to play that game with you. I know you have these fake accounts too as well.
You know that VC I leaked of me on you in that second channel? That was that account. That was that same day. So I know it was you. We spoke on VC that day.
No, that is totally fine if you're saying that certain accounts are saying things with you, but you got to have these proof of these allegations.
Okay,
do you actually have actual
What are you talking about?
Let's take a pause and let's get the proof, okay? So Wacky, where did you say that? Where did you show these emails or these messages?
It was in the Futuristichub end of an era video. You reacted to it. It was the when he had the "A Storm Is Coming" Discord account. That was when he said all those lovely. I can see the
VC going back and forth. I'm just scrubbing through the timeline of the video.
Yeah, I don't know why he's denying that. 'Cause it's literally in the same video, the VC and the DMs. This is literally a waste of time.
Shut the fuck up, dude. None of them want you around. You deal with me on my actual social media. You don't fucking harass others, you little pussy-ass bitch. Wacky says, okay, kid's mad. Brian says, nah, I'm just warning you, stop fucking with them. Nobody there gives a shit about you, and neither should you. Wacky says, you've been warning me for years, mate. Okay. And then, are there more DMs here? Wait, Brian, is that you, right?
There are more.
That's your account.
There is him.
The storm has come?
Yes.
Please deny it. Please deny it. Oh, there we go.
No, that's me. I'm going to tell you right now. This right here is me.
It's you.
Okay.
I already know that because we talked.
Okay, there's more DMs where it says he wants to slit my throat and he wishes killing me was illegal.
Let's have a look.
Let's
have a look, okay?
Actually, that is when it came to
so Wacky
the purge,
says
I wish it was real.
Wacky says, forgot you can't count, dumb cunt. Brian says, don't worry, I'll ask their company to include you on the channels to take down for commentary bullying. Wacky says, bullying? You messaged me. Brian says, then Holly wins the appeal, you're down. Wacky says, you threatened to kill my hundreds of times, mate. Like, you're not a bully, you're a criminal. And then Brian says, you can hate Holly all you want, but when she wins the appeal, you're gone. And he says, I'm scared now, and sends what I presume to be a racist meme.
Okay, wait. Let me just say this right now.
It was racist. It was a guy shaking.
Wait 1 second. Look. If you look right there, pay attention where Wacky says, you're not... no, you've threatened to kill me hundreds of times. But notice that my response was talking about Holly. Now, Wacky, I already told you, and you know this as much as anyone else, that Holly is well involved. And Holly has threatened you before. I'm not going to deny that. I know she has threatened you. I know she talked to you on Twitter. I know she talked to you on Twitter DM. I know that. So you're not just dealing with me, but you failed to acknowledge her.
So your proof is that I've been threatened by both of you. Is that what we're getting at?
I will say collectively, you're being threatened by this entire family. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay, good. Man, you're such a victim.
Because you won't leave us alone. That's why.
I mean, you started it.
Look, let me ask you this, Wacky. Are you a fan? Were you a really cool fan of Futuristichub?
I don't think there are cool fans of Futuristichub.
Okay, were you a fan or not? I have literally a record now. You're mad about something, and you're using your old fan feelings or something to get close to me. I think that's fucking creepy. Sorry to say it, but that's how it is. That's all I can summarize it, dude. This is why you won't leave me alone. So this is what happened to me. This is why
an innocent man doesn't threaten to kill people.
So this is my anger is because of what's been done.
Okay.
No, if you were actually afraid, if you were afraid of me or those death threats, you would not have said any of that stuff.
Hold on, Brian. Because in this video, which is a recording of your call, okay, it seems as though Wacky says there's a conversation that goes on. Wacky says an innocent man doesn't need to kill people. And you say, so that is, my anger is because of what's been done to me. The justice system screwed me in the worst possible way. So it seems as though you're agreeing that you did threaten to kill him.
I will tell you this right now. I probably skipped through a lot of that stuff because when it comes to answering this, I mean, look, you can hear me. If this is the one where I'm yelling and very irate, I'm not going to know. I'm probably blacked out right at this moment.
A drunk,
I'll be honest.
What about the DMs, though?
When I get mad, I black out.
Okay. Well,
okay, but what about the DMs?
So, are you saying that it very well could have been that you threatened to kill Wacky once, maybe numerous times, but you got into such a state that you were so mad you'd kind of blacked out, and so you don't remember? That's totally plausible, right?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay.
But it has to be when I'm really mad, though. It has to be like right when I'm yelling.
Which is really hard to get this guy mad.
Well,
is it now? How well do you know me?
With sarcasm, Brian, you get triggered very easily.
Really? What's my favorite color, Wacky? How many brothers do
You
I
look
have?
like a man of hot pink.
you have one brother, right?
You got dicked. Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
No. I have 2 brothers.
Oh, pardon
Tell
me.
Wacky
Oh, you have one
TV to
twin
show
brother.
you the Skype chats from 2015
Yes.
Okay.
where Brian talks
Wait,
to
one
me
moment.
about the lawsuit and I
Tell
tell
Wacky
him
to
his
show
lawyer
you the
is
Skype
Wilson.
logs from
But he
2015.
Oh,
didn't
look
know.
at that. It's Brandon wishing that he can prove his case on fraud in the court, where he actually wasn't even there.
Okay.
I sent you the Skype logs in the DMs.
Brandon,
Okay.
what's up? What's up, Brandon,
One
the
sec.
scammer?
Did you want to hop into the screen share real quick, Brian, just so I can kind of like put this to you and ask you what your
Screen
thoughts
share.
are?
Okay.
So on Discord,
how do I do that again?
look at the
I'm
call,
on
and
right.
you'll see that I've got a red little live icon, and then just click on there, and then open the live,
Okay.
and you should be able to see my screen.
You got this, bro.
I will see your screen if I do that. Okay, hold on. Can I click watch stream?
So if you look on the left hand side, you've got me, you,
Wait,
and
wait,
Wacky
wait.
in a call.
Okay, I got it.
Yep.
I got it.
Lovely stuff. That's
Thank
the
you,
sound
thank
we
you.
want. That's right. Okay. So here looks to be what we're talking about. Okay. So this is a Skype conversation between it's you and who are you talking to here? Do you remember?
He's talking to Brandon.
Is that
I need to look though. Hold on a second. Need to talk to you right now about something. Trying to get on the same page. What's going on with Marco in October? Yeah.
I'll read them out if you'd
Okay,
like, just so the stream can hear them as well. Like a little audio book. So Brian says,
can I get a date on this, please?
The date, I can give you one. There's because Brandon forwarded them towards me, so they will have the date because it was from the original email. I know it was 2015, but I'll get the exact date for you. But you can read it in the meantime.
Okay. So date pending. We'll see if this is actually in 2015. But Brian says, "Yo, need to talk to you right now about something. Trying to get on a same page here, but I need to know what's going on with Marco in October. Is there a mediation?" Brandon says, "Hi, Brian. I'm not sure this is the correct way to communicate at this point. Maybe have your lawyer reach out to mine." Brian, I can't wait. I can't be wasting any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. I'm already dealing with another issue. I need to know if Marco is lying. Brandon, trust me,
there you go. See,
I hate wasting money on legal fees
on.
as well. I'll just read through these and then go through it.
Okay.
Brandon says, "Trust me, I hate wasting money on legal fees as well." Brian says, "Yeah, same, lol. But if I have a partner lying to me, I have to figure something out. Marco signed 100% reshare to me to video games as of last week, so something is going on." Brandon says, "You should probably reach out to your lawyer and ask him. I've been instructed to direct all conversations to my lawyer, man. You know who your lawyer is on this, right?" And then he says, Brian says, "I have no idea my lawyer is on this. Actually, Jay from Cali is my lawyer. I think Marco is with Wilson, bro. Just strange hearing it from Paul Moot and Jay, I mean. If Marco is lying to me, this is just, ugh. Trying to be positive, lol." Brandon says, "Oh, rev share, not reshare, pardon me." Anyway, Brandon says, "I hear you. Well, Wilson is the name I know of representing you both on this. I'd give him a call and find out what's going on." Okay, so this looks like this is before it's actually going to trial. This looks like it's before October. And here, you seem to know that Wilson is Marco's lawyer, and you're informed by, the person on the other side of the suit that Wilson is the name I know of representing you both on this.
Yes. Well, yeah. Marco has told me the name of, when he was talking about the lawsuit for the past 2 years, he was specifically telling me that it was between him and other people. And he told me that Wilson was the name of his lawyer. But if you do look at the chat, it proves that I'm literally talking about Marco. I never acknowledged the fact that I'm even in a lawsuit here. So yeah, this is correct.
I have the date, by the way.
Correct. If this right here is proof that I didn't know. If you look right here, I said, "What's going on with Marco?"
But you say
I didn't say what's going on with Marco.
I can't be wasting any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. I'm already dealing with another issue. I need to know if Marco is lying. And so why are you paying legal fees for something that you're not involved in at all?
It was the post part of the video games thing. When the video games channel was settled, from what I understand, it was $30,000 was to be given to the ones who stole it from Marco, and so Paul Smoot was the lawyer on their side, and then I had another lawyer on my side doing talks when it came to that. So there were different legal things going on.
But that doesn't seem to make sense though, because you're reaching out to Brandon to ask about the mediation and ask how that, see what's going on there. And then you're saying, I can't waste any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. I'm already dealing with another issue, which sounds to be what you're talking about. I need to know if Marco is lying.
Look. Yes, I reached out to Brandon because it says trying to get on a same page here, which means I don't know what the heck's going on.
How are you lying? We're literally looking at it. I'm actually amazed you're doing this.
Excuse me. I'm fucking talking. I don't need to hear your little pitiful mind. Look,
I have a date, by the way, if you want to hear it.
Why don't you read it right there? It says trying to get on the same page, and I need to know what's going on with Marco. Do you not understand that?
I do understand it.
But you already know that.
It means that I don't know what's going on.
You said earlier that Marco is the one dealing with all of this. You said you were kind of like, I think you described yourself as like a lost kitten. You were kind of out to drift on your own. He was dealing with all of this stuff.
Yes, Marco was the one that had to pay the $30,000 to the Lovingers for the video game settlement.
But that's another issue.
There's two different issues here.
That's another issue.
Yes,
because you mentioned it there.
Yes, and that's.
But you're reaching out to clearly hear because you're reaching out to hear about the ongoing lawsuit involving Marco and Brandon, right?
No.
You're not reaching out to hear about the lawsuit between Marco and Brandon.
Huh?
No, this is not about the video games lawsuit. 100%. I can tell you right now, this is not about that lawsuit.
But he clearly says that Wilson is the lawyer representing you both.
I know, but let me just say this. If I, and I know this because I've done a lot of research since this lawsuit, if I was being represented by a lawyer on a lawsuit where Brandon, this guy right here, is the opponent, the plaintiff, why am I talking to him? Why am I reaching out to this guy? That's not supposed to happen. I'm not supposed to reach out to this guy.
You're asking about the mediation in October, though.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
You reference a mediation right? between, I need to know what's going on with Marco in October. Is there a mediation?
Again, yes, because Marco had told me that he's got to do something called a mediation, and that's why I'm reaching out to this guy going, what's going on with you and Marco? Literally going to Brandon for that. If I knew that I was getting sued and this guy was after me, why am I talking to him?
But he says that to you, right? You should probably reach out to your lawyer and ask him. I've been instructed to direct all conversations to my lawyer. So yeah, that's fair, but Brandon seems to know this, and Brandon is telling you this. His first message is, hey Brandon, I'm not sure if this is the correct way to communicate at this point. Maybe have your lawyer reach out to mine.
Yeah, he doesn't say. Right, but he doesn't say, hey, you know what, I sued you, we're in a lawsuit together, maybe we shouldn't talk.
Well, that seems to be the implication, right? Why else would he say this isn't the correct way to communicate at this point? Maybe have your lawyer reach out to mine. That would only be something said between two people on opposite sides of a lawsuit, right?
No, it's because I'm talking with him about Marco. Essentially, I can be a key witness for Marco.
Why would you have a lawyer?
Talk to me? Because I told you it was a different issue.
Which was?
Remember I told you with the Paul Smoot issue, this was the other side. The settlement with the video games channel coming back, that 30,000 or whatever. There's two different issues here.
Yeah, but why would your lawyer have to reach out to his for this discussion? Unless you guys were on opposite sides of litigation.
Hey, Brian, I'm not sure this is the correct way to communicate. Have your lawyer reach out to mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't even do it. I didn't even acknowledge. I said I can't be wasting any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. But I'm literally telling him it's Marco's issue.
He's communicating to you that this isn't the correct way to communicate. Maybe have your lawyer reach out to mine, indicating that you are on opposite sides of a legal battle. And then he reiterates again, you should probably reach out to your lawyer and ask him. I've been instructed to redirect all conversations to my lawyer, man. You know who your lawyer is on this, right? And then he tells you, your lawyer on this is, Wilson.
Yeah, but let me look at what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. I'm saying it's a Marco
but he's telling
it's a Marco
you what's
situation.
Going on, right?
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's actually being very, very conspicuous about it. He doesn't say anything that's going on. He doesn't say, hey, I sued you. Haha. Or we're in a lawsuit together. You know, I don't think it's appropriate for us to talk because, you know, you're a defendant and I'm the plaintiff here. He doesn't say that.
But that's the clear implication,
exactly
right? I mean, I know you said that you didn't know an awful lot about court stuff.
No, it's not.
But
That's
if you're
not
reaching
clear.
out to somebody to discuss about something, and he's saying, listen, dude, get your lawyer to reach out to mine, okay? This isn't the way we need to talk about
because
this.
we're talking about two different things. I know, but we're talking about two different situations.
But why would you have to have a mediation between lawyers unless you're at opposite sides of a legal dispute against each other?
Do you see where I ask if there's a mediation or not? Obviously, Marco and I are talking behind the scenes. Marco's telling me certain things,
but
so I'm going up to Brandon about that.
I accept that you don't know an awful lot about this. That seems to be true, okay? But when you're reaching out to speak to him, he's saying, whoa, this isn't the way we need to talk about this. In fact, we need to discuss this through lawyers. We can't actually be communicating this way. This isn't the proper way. You need to speak to your lawyer and get him to speak to my lawyer. Now, I'd say I don't understand why anyone would ever say that unless they were currently in litigation against each other, or it was soon to be kind of litigation against each other.
How many times do I have to say this? There's several issues going on, but this video games lawsuit is another issue that's going on behind my back. I'm dealing with something else, and I literally just said that, and it's in the texts. So you could see right here that I don't want to be wasting any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. It's Marco this, Marco that. It's always Marco. What I could have said to Brandon, hey, Brandon, I'm going to beat your ass in the lawsuit, but I never did. I never said, oh, why would you sue me like that? Why couldn't you just go after Marco, Brandon? This is so unfair, Brandon. Like, you can't even see that in there. It's proof that I don't know what's going on. No, and Brandon knows that.
I accept it looks as though at this point, maybe you don't know what's going on, right?
But, okay, well, yeah. So my lawyer's Jay from California.
No, because I want to let you know, I do hear what you're saying, and I do accept it, okay? There are multiple legal things going on, but you are reaching out to somebody to speak to them, and they're saying, whoa, don't speak to me. Speak to me through my lawyer, please. That seems to clearly indicate that the two of you are in some kind of legal dispute. Otherwise, why would you need to speak about lawyers? Maybe there are a lot of legal things going on right now. I respect that.
Because I'm talking about Marco. I know. I'm talking about Marco here. That's why.
But why would you have to speak through lawyers unless the two of you and Brandon, are in a legal dispute?
I think we're talking about, because we're talking about Marco. I'm thinking Brandon here is asking me to speak through lawyers for Marco's situation. That's where we're at here. He doesn't say anything about me. I think it's right to the very end. Can I get the other second page?
Yeah, sure thing.
Please. Thanks. Yeah, it's right at the very end that I'm, where is it? There it is. So he says, I hear you. Wilson is the name I know of representing you both on this. Mm-hmm. I'd give him a call and find out what's going on. Yeah. Well, no, I don't care what Brandon's saying at this moment. I know that I've got a lawyer named Jay. I think that was the Riverside lawyer on a different situation. Again, this stuff is happening in Texas. So why do I have a lawyer in California?
But other issues?
Why is my lawyer in California?
Maybe YouTube stuff? I don't know. But Wilson is the name I know of representing you both on this.
That's Brandon telling.
I know. That. But you're being informed by somebody that there is a lawyer representing you and a co-defendant on this particular issue.
So
it seems he's talking about something.
Can I add something to this real quick?
I will say again, Brandon. I do not trust Brandon as far as I can throw him.
Then
so
why
whatever
are you reaching out to him for information?
I don't. This is in the past. This is before the lawsuit.
No, I know you don't trust him on anything. But why don't you trust him here? You reached out to him not 3 minutes before to ask him about things.
No. All of this stuff, I went to bring Marco, and every time I talk to Marco about things, yes, Marco asks me to ask things. I'm a middleman between Marco and Brandon here.
Because that's what they used me for. I'll send you 2 more screenshots.
Look, they both used me as a middleman. What about the email where Marco and Brandon had a contract as long as they don't talk to me? Do you guys talk about that?
I'm just putting this particular email to you and asking you about it. I mean, it's fine if you
This just proves I know. But this just proves that Brandon and Marco view me as a middleman. That's it.
I don't think they do, because he's refusing to speak to you. If anything, he sees you as an opposition in this legal matter. No? He's refusing to speak to you about anything. And that's fine.
And I understand, but I never said, hey, Brandon, why aren't you talking to me? Look, I don't say anything like that. I said, trust me, I can't be wasting any more legal fees on Marco's stuff. I mean, look, I could have said, listen, man, I can't be wasting these legal fees on you suing me or you attacking me in this lawsuit. And why me, man? Why can't it just be Marco? And why can't, look, I help out with it?
I agree with you.
Nothing happened here.
Let's even say, for the sake of argument, I'm not sure, but if you're saying that you knew nothing about the lawsuit at this point, you think you're a middleman, that's fair. But all of a sudden, you're being told, you can't speak to me. You need to speak to your lawyer. You need to speak to your lawyer representing the both of you on this. Right? It seems pretty clear that this person's icing you out. They don't want to speak to you. They're saying you need to talk through lawyers. And they're saying there's a lawyer representing you on this.
That's fine. And I'm going to continue to get iced out then, because nobody else told me what was going on. I mean, look, if
this guy would have said, this Wilson guy?
Well, yeah, but how am I supposed to know who that is if
who
I'm not being given any contacts?
He said, the name. I have no idea who my lawyer is on this. Actually, Jay from Cali is my lawyer. I think Marco is with Wilson, bro.
Marco told me he was in settlement talks with that David Moss guy. He's told me he was going to get a settlement talk and everything was going to be just fine with this whole thing between him and that Moss guy. And that Wilson is the name of his lawyer. That's all I knew.
Did you ever ask Marco for Wilson's contact information?
Do I have to send you my phone chat with Marco himself?
Well, it's fine. I'm just asking you the question. I recorded it.
So, can you ask me that again, please?
Oh yeah, sure thing. Sorry. Did you ever contact Marco as you're kind of like having this conversation back and forth and ask him, by the way, can I speak to Wilson? Do you have his contact information?
No, I didn't need to speak to Wilson because Marco kept telling me it was between him and some other person. That's all. It's not my. He told me it's not my business. He didn't want me involved in it because they're doing some settlement talks. That's all he told me. And I said, okay, well, fine. I just kept on being the middle. Look, I'm working for a channel that for video games channel. Him and I are business partners at the time. So yeah, I'm being dragged through back and forth between Brandon and Marco here.
Like I say already, it doesn't seem like you are, because you're not a middleman, because you're being iced out. And you're being told you need to speak to this lawyer. This lawyer is representing you. And then you never, I'm not calling you a liar, okay, to be clear.
Can I see the response to this? I understand. Can I see a response to this?
It seems as though this is the end of conversation. There doesn't seem to be a message like this.
Okay, well then, I'd like to see something that proves that I actually was told that I was being sued or in a lawsuit.
Okay, I sent you 2 more screenshots because you can show on stream.
All I see is this guy named Wilson is the name of someone that's representing you both on this, in the sense where Marco was representing that his lawyer Wilson was in mediation talks or settlement talks with this Moss guy about the YouTube channel stuff. But that's all I knew.
What would it mean for a lawyer to be representing you, if not in a lawsuit or some kind of legal action?
Well, I mean, like I said, I run the channel. That's all I'm doing. I mean, it could be about the channel and whatnot. But what Marco was representing to me clearly, he was not telling me that I was.
You're a co-owner of that channel,
but he didn't tell me. Right, but he didn't. Yes, but he didn't tell me I wasn't personally sued, though. That's the problem. Marco never told me. I actually have a 30-minute conversation where you can listen to where Marco and I were talking, and he full out just explains everything. He says why he was scared of not ever telling me about this lawsuit. He tells the whole story.
Brian.
Okay. One sec, because
I have a quick question.
I guess the final question that I would want to ask on this. I can understand that Marco very well may have lied to you about this, and you might not have known. But do you accept from this conversation, you seem already like you're suspicious that Marco is lying to you. You should probably kind of distrust him at this point, and you should have probably been clued in that you're being sued about something.
Yeah, but there's no, I'm not. There's nothing that shows about this law. Where can you please point out to me where I'm being sued here?
You're being represented.
Why would you threaten to countersue then?
Okay, look.
Wait, hold on.
Anybody could represent anybody without a lawsuit.
Because what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that you're lying, and I'm not saying that you knew, but I'm saying you probably should have known from this text conversation, right? That something was going on at the very least.
No, I didn't. I knew that Marco, from what Marco was telling me, he was having this issue with this guy named Moss, and they were going to settle out, and he had a lawyer, Wilson, that was dealing with it for him. Okay. But I didn't know anything about the lawsuit.
But I'm not saying what you did know, okay? I'm not saying what you did know and didn't know. But looking back, it's like, oh, fuck. I probably should have known at that point. Oh, fuck. I should have realized. Right?
No. Looking back, no, because Marco was supposed to tell me about what was going on. He never did. I asked him. I said, Marco, what's going on here? And then it wasn't until I got that email saying that Video Games was getting sued, and I went up to him a week before trial. Then he told me I got to show up.
I'll be honest,
that was pretty much it.
I just find it bizarre that you're asking that, you're asking about who your lawyer is. You're talking about mediation. You're talking about representation. You're talking about, like revenue shares and all the such. But you claim you still, at this point, you don't know what a defendant is.
Right. I don't say anything there. I say my lawyer is basically taking care of, the one in California is taking care of that whole other issue. I'm not saying anything about a lawsuit here.
That's fair. I mean, we might be
even some people in the chat has even said,
we might be running around in circles.
They're even saying that it's true
on this screenshot. It's okay. I got sent a couple more. If that's okay. Like,
I mean, yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Every screenshot that you're gonna get sent, I've seen, because my lawyer, Mr. Bauer, has done a very good job at writing this case, and every single one of them does not show that I'm at fault.
Brandon.
Nice.
And that's totally fine, because you can see how snarky Brandon is in any of those DMs.
So if you didn't know about the lawsuit, why would you say you're going to countersue?
So this right here is perfect. These. Right. I mean, I've already went over with my lawyer. I'll go over it again.
Boys.
So go ahead, you can read them.
Okay, let me read them through first. Okay. Brian says, okay, so this is December 25th, 2014. Brian, threaten us again. It's the last thing you ever do. You hear me, punk? I'll wipe the floor off you. Brandon says, I'm not threatening anyone. Can you show me where? I'm simply utilizing the legal system because my agreement has not been honored. Brian, you have nothing on Video Games because your agreement does not exist. Lol. Brandon, I'm worried if Marco has not been totally honest with you either. Brian, how many times do I have to say this? And then there's a little bit of a cut-off here. I think you resume talking here. Dicked. Brandon then says, you'll steal my house? That'd be pretty hard to move, Brian. Brian says, I'll liquidate your assets, bro. AKA countersue you with cold hard facts. I don't think you want to mess with me. Brandon says, lol. Brian says, you know how I am, winky face. I do nothing but win. Brandon, I bet that works with the newer YouTubers, don't it? Lol. Okay. Brian says, trust me, Brandon. You've been warned, and if you do trifle with me, legally, you will feel the pain of being worthless. Do yourself and your family a favor and back off. Or somebody's going to not have enough money to support a finger, let alone an entire family. Peace. And then Brandon sends a meme, says, "What? Whoa! Watch out! We've got a hard man over here." I think that's what the Neil deGrasse Tyson meme, if I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there another DM?
I don't see a fourth.
That's all the ones that I've sent him. Why? What ones do you want me to send?
Okay. So what are we looking for here?
So here it seems like you seem somewhat legally adept because you're talking about countersuing him.
Okay, bro, you're getting too big for your boots.
So
and you seem to know that you are engaged in litigation against him, because you're talking about countersuing, right?
I want to run in the field with you again.
Because of Marco telling me that Brandon is continuously making threats to him and the channel on suing. Yes. But if you look here, I'm not referencing that the fact that he did sue. I'm saying if he does, if he attacks anyone, if he does anything to anybody. There is another DM. I think you guys. Where's the other DM? There's another one that's been left out.
Which one?
Oh, you guys are leaving DMs out now, huh? Okay.
Well, explain what we've left out, and we'll go through it.
Is it between this first one and the second one? Because there seems to be a jump from 11:26 to 11:38.
Yeah, there is another one. Yeah, correct. There's another one. Hold on.
Do you remember the DM that you're looking for?
It's Brandon's snarky attitude saying, he says, I don't think Marco has been completely, or told you or what was really going on with a winky face. That's what he told me. That proves right there that Brandon knows, and he's being snarky about it.
He says, I'm wondering if Marco has not been totally honest with you either.
No, there's another one. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
So he says it again.
Yeah.
But then you seem to start believing that yourself, which is why you then reach out to Brandon. So you're starting to doubt whether Marco has been completely honest with you.
Like, because Marco continues telling me that he has this problem with this Moss guy. That's what he's telling me. And now Brandon's telling me that he still owns the YouTube channel. And I have a problem with that. Now, this was said after the summer conversations that I had, where I told Brandon to show me a contract that you own piece of the channel and I will honor it. But he says, I don't have to show you anything. And that's the last I ever talked about.
I think I've got the other DM you were referring to. I'll send it over.
Oh, okay, well, that would be nice.
Here you go. Is that the one? I think that's the one he's talking about.
This might be. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm glad we could get that. We can get that straightened out. If you do send any more information, just make sure you kind of like include everything. Points away from Gryffindor for poor performance. Wacky. No, I'm messing with you. Okay. I'm sure Brandon says, I'm sure you would have people go back and tell you. I expect that. That's fine. Brian says, Marco and I have our own lives to plan. You have yours. There shouldn't be any beef for property that is rightfully not yours anyhow. Brandon says, did Marco tell you you're being named in the lawsuit too? Brian says, Marco told me nothing, and there is no lawsuit. Brandon CC, that's where you're confused. Okay, never mind. Sorry for bothering you.
See, this is concrete proof that not only did I say there's no lawsuit, but now Brandon knows that he can use this against me.
Well, no, he's informing you that you are being sued.
Is the same. Yeah, but the thing is, though, he's saying that you are being named in the lawsuit too. But here's the thing. I just told him there is no lawsuit. Now, what he should have said was, Brian, yes, there is. I sued you, dude.
Well, no, he's informing you, and you say, no, that's not true. You're lying. I don't know what he's supposed to say at that point.
Because I don't know about the existence of a lawsuit.
But he's informing you about the existence of a lawsuit.
That's fine. Someone can inform that they've sued me from Alaska, but where's the evidence? Where's the link? Where's the motion? Where's the proof? What I'm trying to say is, yes, he did say that you are being named in the lawsuit too. But did Marco tell you that you are being named in the lawsuit too? Now, yeah. Again, this right here can be seen as that you are being named in the lawsuit, not you have been named.
Yeah.
He's threatening me legally right here too. We're both threatening each other.
Right, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
These were in 2014, these messages. This was before Brandon told you Wilson was your attorney, correct?
2014. Yes, this was in 2014.
Yeah,
I think it was before.
December 3rd.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
And so, yeah, I've seen the Skype chats when it comes to the whole saying that Wilson represents you both. That is irrelevant because I didn't know anything about this representation. And there's already, proof that Wilson has already, and he's even confessed. We've seen his confession that not once did he take any advice from me. Mm-hmm. Not once did he did he do anything when it came to this, the lawsuit, when it came to representing me? So that's totally fine. But yeah, I like that.
Well, that's not an
thank
admission,
you, Wacky,
right?
for sending me that.
That's not necessarily like malpractice.
Oh, it is.
To have two defendants, you're representing them both, but only one is giving you legal direction.
Well, so first of all, he was obligated to give me my summons to court. He's obligated to show me that. He's obligated to come to me with answers to his filings. He's obligated to show me these things, and yet he never did for anything. Instead, he took my summons that was supposed to be mailed to this California address, and instead he took it to his office. He had it mailed to his office, and he signed off on it to keep me from knowing about the lawsuit. That's the main problem. That's the start of the fraud on the court. I mean, I'm supposed to be participating in this lawsuit from day one. I mean, that's my constitutional right here in America. I'm supposed to be able to have due process, but I wasn't given any of that. None of those answers that he filed with the court were my answers. They were Marco's answers, even though it says on there that they were mine.
Why haven't you sued Marco?
So I have no reason to sue Marco. There's no basis to sue Marco.
Wait, but you're saying he and your lawyer conspired to rob you of representation?
No, it wasn't Marco. Marco is not the one who conspired on it.
But he lied to you and said that you were a witness. No? I might be misunderstanding
Marco was scared. Well, Marco was scared to tell me about the lawsuit. He thought that I would stop running the channel and stop being a part of his to be his business partner. He thought that.
Well, that be as it may, he did lie to you, right?
I would say he lied. Yeah.
So
I would say he lied to me about things that were going on.
Because he's not a kid, right? He's an adult as well. He's like part business owner with you in this kind of video games channel or kind of venture, right? You own it together.
I mean,
part of it each.
I mean, he was young. Yeah, he was young at the time. I forget how old, but maybe.
But it seems like
22. I forget.
If anyone has done fraud against anybody, it may well be at this point. I'm saying it may well be Marco that's done you wrong, not necessarily Brandon. In fact, it seems like twice really Brandon has tried to inform you that you are being named in the lawsuit, and he's tried to inform you who your lawyer is in 2015.
It is Brandon's fault because of the email that they filed with the original motion that said that Brandon and Marco were colluding on taking money from the video games channel and even from my pocket as long as they don't talk to me about it. That's an email. That's literally an agreement that I showed in my video. I'm not sure if Wacky has a copy of it.
Did the court ever see
that? I don't believe so. I think it was omitted out of evidence from. It could have been the other side, but I never saw it up until I saw the original petition.
Wait.
And I could see why that they would take it out.
So the jury never saw it.
If I would have been,
but the court did, because there was a motion to suppress.
I believe it could have been. I don't know. I like I said, I didn't know anything that was going on in the lawsuit.
But you're trying to fundraise honestly, right now to take this kind of redo this lawsuit, or to try and like prove there's been fraud. But...
No. Okay, so here's where I'm sitting right now. My lawyer, Adrian Bauer, has crafted the best fraud on the court claim motion ever. It's very good. He filed it in with the federal court, the same court that heard this lawsuit, and it was ignored and denied by the federal court.
Wait, so the motion has already been filed, and it's been denied by the court?
But it was ignored though. There was no hearing or anything. It was a straight up, hey, take it up the chain to the appeal court. Okay. Because this has never happened before, and so that's where we are now. Is when we are in the appeals.
Courts can ignore motions, right? Like this is especially famous with the Supreme Court. They ignore the vast majority of cases that are kind of like quote unquote brought to them. They don't actually take the case, right? They just ignore it.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm not sure if a court is allowed to totally ignore something. I mean, look, we have to have a hearing on all the merits. There has to be a hearing.
But your lawyer should be advising you of that, right? What did he say about this? That the court has just ignored this?
Oh yeah, that's where my appeal lawyer decided to take it to the appeal court.
Wait, so these are two different lawyers, is it?
Yes. My appeal lawyer is the original appeal lawyer for the Futuristichub lawsuit that we won in appeal. And she took Adrian Bauer's motion in federal court and is now appealing that based on the fact that it was completely ignored. One of the things that the judges did say after ignoring it, they just said, "Oh, well, Brian just showed up to the trial, so there's nothing we can do." Well, that's wrong, because fraud on the court doesn't just start at the trial. It starts day one.
But if it's the claim that you had no idea that you were being sued, I think their
which there was actual evidence of that.
A reasonable person would be that you did know that you were a defendant, because kind of as I went through earlier in the legal papers.
No, not at all. If there's a lawsuit that's 1,500 miles away from me, and I'm being kept from it, and nobody's telling me anything about it, I think that's fair to say that
you sat in on the trial,
not just me, but anybody. Well, yeah, because I moved to Texas, and then it was March of the following year where I was told by Marco to go to the court.
And you sat at the defendant's table, right?
I sat at a table at this moment as I sit here, that I know what I know today versus what I knew then. Sure, yeah, that's the defendant's table.
And then every time that the court
we got to go back
started,
to 2016,
and the court was called, it was
go
David
to volume
Tyler
if you
Moss
can.
and
Please
Brandon
go to volume
Keating,
3.
The plaintiffs.
Yeah, I know, but if
versus
you can,
Marco Prissett and Brian Martin, the defendants, right? Like every time the court.
Well, if you look at it, it says Video Games YouTube channel, Game Guide LLC, Video Games YouTube channel, and Brian Martin. Listen, I mean, they're talking about a YouTube channel with my name. Even if I heard a YouTube channel in my name, I still don't know what's going on. I know that I'm running the channel, and I know I'm there as an owner.
And you know you're a defendant.
No.
Whether you know what defendant means or not, right? Which is contested.
Look, if you can please go to volume 3, I will prove this to everyone right now. That's all we need to see. If you search,
is this volume 3?
If you go to volume, is it volume 3B?
Let me have a gander for you, mate. I've got volume 3 here for you.
Hold on, is it volume 3 or 3B? Is there 3 and 3B?
I'm not seeing a 3B, but I am seeing a 5A.
All right, so go to page 90. Go to page 92 for me, please. This is literally the official court record of me literally being in court, by the way.
Okay, 93.
And there's nothing else. There's nothing else I can say after this about what happened, but this is literally proof that there was a problem at that point.
Wait, so is this you being
down?
Is this your deposition?
Yeah.
93.
This is me being questioned.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a questioning. I'm sitting on the stand. Hold on a second.
Dude, I feel like
up to 92, please.
Clerk right now.
It's going to be the half page bottom of 92.
Starting from which line?
15.
Okay. Question by Mr. Wade. So this is cross-examination, correct?
Yeah, Mr. Wide is going to be the plaintiff's attorney. That's
sorry,
correct.
Mr. Wide, pardon me. Sir, do you know when Mr. Keating entered this lawsuit? He says no. Question.
That's me saying no.
And yet Mr. Keating has sued you. Is that correct? Answer, no, not at all. Mr. Wide says, we'd ask the court to take judicial notice of this style of the case. The court, that being the judge, says, you're asking the witness what he knows. And I know...
Look, he called me a witness.
But you're standing as a witness at the time, but you're also a defendant. You take the stand.
No, everybody can take the stand, even a witness.
No, but everyone who takes the stand is a witness. Even a defendant.
In a sense, yeah.
In
the sense, we can say that, yeah.
Okay. You're asking this witness what he knows, and I know what has been filed with the court, and the jury will actually get a copy of everything. Mr. Wide. So, you don't understand. Mr. Wilson hasn't explained to you that Mr. Keating has sued you and Mr. Prissett. Mr. Wilson says, Your Honour, objection to the form of the question. The court says, this is hearsay anyhow, so it's sustained. Why do you move on to something else? Mr. Wide says... I think
that's pretty much it.
I don't need to hear any sidebars. If you have an objection, let's make your objection. Mr. Wilson says, I don't need to hear your I don't need to hear you going into your attorney client. Mr. Wide says, Mr. Prissett.
Yeah. So
the court says, let's take a 10-minute recess.
Yeah, so that was a fight. They were literally arguing back and forth. So there was back and forth stuff that was going on. I was experiencing two lawyers that were pretty much arguing back and forth in open court.
Well, it sounds like
this, but
Mr. Wide's trying to ask you about it, and he's kind of piercing the attorney-client privilege because he's trying to ask you about conversations that you've had with the lawyer who represents you.
Yeah, so if you scroll up, you can literally see right off the bat.
Mr. Wilson says,
flat out
I don't need to hear you going into any attorney-client.
Well, that's fine. That's what I'm trying to say is they're fighting, so I'm not paying attention or anything else. They're just fighting.
Really?
I'm like, whatever. I'm sitting here on the stand waiting for an actual question.
What?
Wide was right in front of me when he was asking questions, and then all of a sudden he turns.
The two lawyers and
over
the
there
judge get into an argument, and you're not listening.
Oh yeah, because they're why am I listening? They're not asking me questions. They're not. I mean, that's it.
Come on, man. It's an argument.
So I'm not
if anything, it's
attention.
dramatic. That would capture your attention.
No? Not really. No, I was very irate up on the stand. I don't know what's going on. I'm sitting there trying to answer questions. All I want to do is get off the stand. It's very overwhelming for me to even be on that stand. So I'm just sitting there waiting to be excused. I'll answer the questions, but I don't want to be on there as long as I have to be. But if you do read it up there, you literally see that I don't know what's going on. And then Mr. Wide kind of gets an idea of it. And then the judge shuts everybody down and says, let's just move on to something else.
Well, yeah.
So,
because he's trying to pierce the conversations that you've had with your attorney.
Oh, he's trying to do something. I don't know. Or maybe at this moment that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's just irrelevant to the lawsuit. But again, page 92 and 93, that right there is proof that they were getting in on the fact that I didn't know what was going on, that I was completely oblivious to the lawsuit. I mean, I didn't show up to mediations. I didn't show up to anything. There's nothing that was going on because I didn't know about anything. Do we have a copy of that Wilson agreement with the? Because I think that's probably the last thing that.
If you could send it to me.
How do I send you things?
You can send it to me in DMs, or you can pop it in the server. It's if you have our DMs up, I'll send you a message just to
good.
Yeah, just drag and drop it into the window.
Yeah, I think I'll just say my piece now because it's quite late. I'm probably gonna hop off. But yeah, Dickers, I think you're doing a good job at the moment. And Brian, it was good to speak to you again. Good luck with the stream, guys.
You too.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
One sec, I've got somebody who's apparently. 1 second. What's he saying to me? Okay.
Who is it?
It's somebody who's I think he wanted to have a go at Wacky, I think. But I guess I'll let him in. Oh, he's just left. 1 sec. Reservoir. If you want to hop back in just while he's trying to find his document, you can
Oh, I found it. I just tried to send it to you. This is kind of odd. I'm trying to DM you, but I don't see a. It's weird. Is it? Oh, wait a minute. There we go. I got it now.
Hey, can you hear me?
How's it going, Reservoir?
Hello?
You okay?
Okay, can you hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, I believe I can.
I don't understand why you're just like letting this wacky guy just run the entire narrative on Brian. Like, it's actually kind of crazy that you're doing this.
What? Well, I'm okay.
I feel like you don't give any pushback. Like, Brian probably didn't know about any of these things. It's obvious. Like, we don't even know the dates of any of these emails, dude.
But no, the emails had dates on them. I think the text correspondence, if you want to jump into the live.
Yeah, but the ones specifically that are being used as evidence don't have the dates on them or anything like that. Okay, like it's crazy. And it doesn't make sense because Brian didn't even own the channel in the first place, right? It was Brian, it was your current wife, Holly, right?
Oh, which lawsuit are we talking about?
I believe the one that started in 2014. I was looking into this. I've been arguing with Dickers about this in private for a while.
You might be talking about the 2020 September lawsuit where they filed where they filed suit against Futuristichub channel and then other defendants.
but the thing is, she always was running the channel and everything like that since the moment that it existed in the first place. That's what Brian's been arguing. It's kind of crazy that we're not acknowledging that to begin with.
Is that
yeah, I mean, this is the that's the 2020. So he's talking about Futuristichub. For video games, though, it was Marco who first owned it.
Yeah, no, I was like looking at the whole of this because it just seems like you've been getting screwed over like this entire time. And like, you got literally this guy in the chat saying like you had Holly make that channel when she was like 10. Like she was at least like 12 or 13 when she was made that channel, right?
Well, I didn't have anybody make any channel.
Well, I thought the Futuristichub, based on the 22 like recordings, right? Like that's what that was that she was the one that owned the channel, made the channel, and everything like that, right?
Yeah, she and her father made that, and I think you'd be correct on the age.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and like you just like showed her how to do like the animations, because like you said, like you helped around with that, right?
Yeah, at the time I was running the video games channel, which was scouting out, potential directors and people that maybe I can upload their content and help promote their other channel.
Who is this video games person in chat right now? Like there's somebody typing in chat. I assume like that's not you. Who has the video games channel now?
That's probably Brandon.
Oh, that's Brandon. How does Brandon Keating, right? How does he own the channel?
Yeah. In June of 2016, Marco and I let go of control of the channel to Brandon. And
okay, all right, yeah, I must have missed something there. Yeah, I was just like, I know like Dickers had that Brandon guy on a couple of days ago.
I didn't.
And like Brandon was saying like,
break the record.
You didn't?
Gamma
was that
did.
Gamma? Okay, that was Gamma. Okay, sorry, I get you both mixed up. You're both diminutive men that just listen to anybody that's willing to spout off in any way, shape, or form. All right, you need a real man to come in here to set you straight. So when Gamma is talking to that Keating guy, right? Keating's saying, he's like seized bank accounts of yours and everything like that. It's like, I mean, all of this is completely unverified. It's so crazy that he's saying this. Like, did he seize like any bank accounts or anything?
Are you talking about like after the lawsuit, before? Because
after. Well, the lawsuit is concurrent. It's still technically an open docket, right? And like you're currently filing appeals on it, so it is a current lawsuit.
So I'm currently contesting the 2016 issue, but the Futuristichub one, the 2020, has been appealed and reverse and rendered. Right now, they're trying to do an en banc on it.
But I think you said earlier that they did take control of at least Kevin's bank account, because they managed to take like $500, something like that.
Okay.
So Kevin, I remember Kevin 2 years or 3 years ago saw what was going on with my situation, the Holly situation. So he emailed the judge, and said, I'm going to own a channel, and I'm going to own these channels, and, I'm going to work for hire Brian and Holly, and just not a damn thing you're going to do about it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so, and then Kevin had the idea that maybe that's something he may want to do. So he created his own media company. He created his channel. We talked about it, and we started running things and having fun with it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like asking just some clarifying stuff. I started going over this because I saw your video, and I remembered like when I was younger, I was just like on YouTube. I was playing Minecraft and everything like that. I really loved all your stuff. I will say the feet stuff kind of confuses me, but like, man, whatever you want to do with that, that's fine. If you're
I was making fun of Dan Schreider, I was making fun of the whole thing.
But like you have that one on like your current channel where it's just this dude with like all these feet around him talking about how he loves feet because he doesn't have little feet and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's an old video though. That's a real old video.
Resi,
but
you're like an
like
OG
you
fan.
reposted
I didn't
it.
fucking realize this.
I am an OG fan, Dickers. All right, I'm watching you crucify my God King, and I'm sick of it.
Fucking Christ. Okay, chill.
It's crazy. No, Dickers, this is crazy. Okay, but like, so, like, let me get this straight. All right, why so you got married to Holly, and that's when you moved to England. This is one thing. I've been looking through everything. When was it that you like moved to like London or England or whatever these fucking like, you know, bonger freaks are going ahead and talking their like little fake English language with? What year was it that you moved over?
That was in 2020.
2020. Okay, so then like you returned in 2023, I'm guessing, because you said you were there for 3 years, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And like when you moved there in 2020, you got married to Holly in 2020, right?
No,
I'm assuming. Am I getting that time frame wrong? I'm doing a documentary on you. I just think that this is fascinating. You know, I was like looking at even the shit Shoe on Head was talking shit on you in 2011 about like I think it was like some like Fukushima reactor stuff. It was crazy. People don't get what jokes are. Obviously, like you're telling these people that you're gonna find them and you're gonna kill them, and it's a joke, you know, it's common parlance. You're a little angry with them. Obviously, they fucked your life up. All right, they should take the fucking joke.
I mean, if we're talking about rage bait, I mean, yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, because like, well, I saw
the man speak, Reservoir. Jesus,
sorry.
I know you're excited to finally speak to him.
I'm talking to my hero. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I'm talking to my hero. I'm nervous, Sticker.
Okay,
sorry.
It's fine.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm a little.
He's going way back, Dicker, to like 2010 and 11. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing like a life of you, and it's like I'm looking through it, and it's like, yeah, you're one of the OG YouTubers, man.
Oh, you're right. Life in a 10 was a rage bait channel. I guess it's one of the first ones of its kind. You know, I mean, I got a lot of friends in the troll department. We had a lot of fun doing rage bait videos. And
was that I think I've heard about this. Was this press like for Epic Earthquake after the Japanese
and
then there's like like this was like I've been going deep, man. All right, like I've been looking at this happy cabbie guy, and there's this like woman that's claiming that this reply girl person was trying to get them like demonetized and everything like that, and this is back in like 2011, I think. You know, and like I was looking into that too, because it's like it's just the same thing over and over with everyone that you talk to. It's like it seems that what they're doing is they come up with, oh, Brian did this one bad thing once, we're gonna copy paste these arguments over and over again. At least like I've watched like a lot of your responses to it, because it's hard to dig up ever since it seems like these freaks Keating and Moss started like taking your channels down and everything, you know. And it's just I just like was wondering if that's like something that you get the feeling. It's like you've been dealing with the same thing over and over and over again from literally everyone, like the same complaints, you know?
Well, just to them, Keating and Moss, then they're dumb little lawyers. They just think that, you know, my family just can't have anything. They think we can't run YouTube channels, or they think that nobody can, you know, create a YouTube channel. So like my older brother, David, if he wants to create a YouTube channel, then he's automatically going to get attacked for it.
Wait, is it them who are preventing you from getting a YouTube channel, or is there a Texas lawsuit with you and YouTube where YouTube said that they no longer wanted you to allow having a YouTube channel? They wanted to like ban you.
No, it's actually, so here's how it went. When the Futuristic lawsuit happened, Holly and I, and of course now my brother and everything else, like we were so pissed off, like we were angry. And we made some threats to the plaintiffs, and we made some remarks to YouTube saying, hey, you know, you can't do this, you know, we're going to sue you guys and such. And they got mad, and because of the lawsuit drama, they terminated all the channels. And that was just because of the drama and maybe and essentially some of the threats.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
When you talk about threats, because earlier you mentioned that sometimes you get like so angry that you kind of like black out. Could it be one of those situations? I would definitely say so. I've been caught saying some stuff and I don't really recall doing it. Or if I'm like tired, or if I stay up a certain amount of hours, sometimes my mind gets fogged up and I kind of don't know what's going on.
Dickers, these people are sending him like tens of emails and calling him over and over again on Skype, dude. Like obviously he's being stressed out. He's being stalked. It's crazy.
Okay. I don't deny, okay?
What,
I'm sure that Brandon has an awful lot of people giving him an awful lot of negative attention.
I bullied you. What?
I don't deny I think I probably agree. There are an awful lot of people giving, you know, Brian an awful lot of negative attention. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy that they're pointing out like this reply girl shit and like what Brian was doing back, I don't know, 15 years ago to say that he was doing that to other people. It's actually crazy that they're even doing that in some of like the deep lore videos that they have. They just do this to trigger the guy. It's insane how these people are taking advantage of a obviously autistic man, and it's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, the situation, like I said, the situation when it comes to the trolling thing, yes, I got these emails, I got these, you know, like the Skype stuff. I even got people, you know, visiting the house, wanting to fight. I've got some photos sent to the house of gore and people with their heads blown off saying, hey, this is you.
Yeah. And then but that's the thing. They're literally, it's almost like they are literally going ahead and they just conjure evidence out of nowhere. Like, you know, I was looking into a little bit of the stuff that was happening after, I think it was like in 2016, there's this Forbes article where they're saying you got censured by the court because you were asking for people to send you porn to put on your YouTube channel. You know, which is like, I mean, obviously it's big media. We know who controls big media. We know what's happening there. So it's like, obviously they will run with any narrative they can. They're grasping for straws. It's craziest.
I remember that. It was an April Fool's joke is what it was. And they turned an April Fool's joke into a contempt of court. Just like when that dude like railed out that fucking creeper. It was pretty hot, don't get me wrong. Like, that's a joke, obviously. It's not porn. Okay, you know, it's just like, what are you gonna do? There's 4 weird legs in a hole there, you know, what are you gonna do, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I guess the thing, I just was like kind of wondering a little bit more about how Futuristichub got started, and like a little bit of like how did you get involved with Holly on the channel? I think that's like the only thing, like I'm kind of, everything you say makes total sense. That's the one thing that just doesn't compute for me. Well, remember, I worked on the video games channel, and my job was to find, you know, people, content creators.
Yeah.
Some of them were of all ages. I mean, 30, 40, 15, 13, whatever it was. But when I found Holly...
When was it? What year did you meet Holly, if you don't mind me asking?
That was in 2000. I think it was 2000. Yeah, 2012. It was a while ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry.
And that was in a Minecraft server where we were talking about Minecraft animations, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Well, what's your ideas? And I didn't immediately get into a call with her alone. In fact, her father was there a lot of the times. Yeah. Her father was always there for the most part. So I made sure that it was professional enough to where, you know, you can assume that if I'm going to be talking to some child, then there's going to be a parent there.
Exactly. Then, you know, it makes sense. Yeah.
And then she didn't have a male voice.
Thank you, Wendy,
you know, she was doing these things, and I thought, well, that would be kind of cool to.
Obviously, I can't chill, but I appreciate you supporting
like
it nonetheless.
The Angry Minecraft, everything started really taking off.
Oh, she was the voice of Steve?
No. I was, because she knew.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was you. I wasn't sure there for a second, man. Like, God, I'm tons of history for me. Okay, you're Steve. So wait, who's Ugly Steve then?
I'm ugly. Are you talking about?
Yeah, there's like that gross out, like Frico jaw Steve and stuff. Yeah, kind of grotesque. Yeah. That's a good word for it. That's you too.
Yeah. That's. Yeah, all of it essentially. Like, I'm the Angry Birds. I'm SpongeBob. I'm Sonic.
Steve. No, I know. I like, obviously I was a kid when I saw all this stuff, so it's like, you know, I'm rewatching stuff and I'm like, oh wow, that was a part of this. Like, I've just been going through all of it. It's been a really great reminisce for me. So
yeah,
no, I just
started.
Yeah, so that's how it started. Okay, cool. So, like, I guess, you know, I don't really know. There's not like much out there. I did hear this one rumor that you had, because you have your ex-wife Chrissy. I believe you guys like divorced in 2019 or 21 or something like that.
Yeah, she ended up packing in December 2018, and she ended up sending me divorce papers the following month.
Okay, all right. That's sorry about that, man. Yeah, I guess like I was seeing like these rumors online about you having a wife even before that as well.
No.
Was that
No,
like?
no.
Is there anything to that, or like, did one of your brothers get married before that, or?
Well, my brother's married. Yeah, I mean, he's been married for 16, 17 years now.
Is that the twin or the not?
Yeah,
twin?
that's my twin. Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. Is his wife? I pardon me. I don't know how to ask this. Is she Filipino?
Yeah, there's people that talk about that, but yeah, she's from the Philippines.
Okay, so that's like, all right, yeah, because I was like looking through, like I got deep in my research, right? I was looking through and I was like, I don't think Brian's had a third wife, and surely she wasn't Filipino.
Reservoir, I'm gonna give you a warning here, okay? Talking about the racial composition of people's marriages, okay? I'm gonna say, watch your tone.
What do you mean, watch my turn? Here.
What's your tone?
Okay, I'm uncovering the truth.
Okay,
okay. Sorry, there are people online lying about Brian right now, Dickers, and you're helping them. It's disgusting.
I'm sorry. I'll let you cook. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I honestly, right now, I just got to be clear here. I think Brian deserves a lot of our sympathy. You know, he was a critical part of a lot of people's childhoods and everything like that. You know, and it's absurd how it seems like decades long bullying campaign accusing him of grooming his current wife for like 10 years before he married her and all this shit, saying that he met her when he was 10, saying that he was, you know, going and spending money to bought views on his accounts, him like sending crazy amounts of messages to Tommy C. Now, I would say, Brian, you might want to stay away from Tommy C. He moved to Germany for a reason. It's really weird. So regardless of all that, I've been looking through it all, man. And like, I just gotta say, I think honestly, we should give Brian a little bit more credit. I don't think he groomed his current wife for 8 years before he married her. I think it's actually insane that you had somebody in chat saying that.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know where that rumor came from. I know somebody even was it that Outback Zach guy over on Twitter? He even was tweeting out that I married a 12-year-old. That's how bad this is. But I don't.
Yeah, that's absurd. You know, no, you just talked to her. You just talked to her for 6 years when her dad was there, and then like you got married at like 2 years after she turned 18. So
yeah, we were all making videos together. We were all making videos. It was a lot of fun. That's all I can really say. That's all it really was.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I guess along with all that, man, like honestly, Brian, I hope you get this right. I think you need to drop the hammer on these people. I think Marco was an absolute coward for declaring bankruptcy when it's clear that you guys like were completely treated like utter shit by the courts. It's actually insane. I think you gotta push this, man. I'm an old fan and I wish you the best luck. Okay. Thanks for taking my questions, man. You take care, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. All right.
Nice. Thank you, Rezzy. Sorry about that, Brian. Wow,
actually, you know, that was a breath of fresh air. You know, I mean, like I don't really come on these things too often, so it's really nice to hear from, you know, the real positive minds that really look into all this, because I know it's very confusing stuff. It's decades of stuff, and yeah, I am an OG of the whole YouTube thing, so that was this guy has it down.
Yeah.
So no, I appreciate that, you letting him on the call.
No, it's okay. Listen, I'm happy for like anyone to come on. Obviously, like I want like a maybe sometimes fractious, but like, you know, like honest, or you know, kind of like open, or kind of at least fair, right? Kind of representation of people. Let them have their say. Let them talk their shit, whatever they want to say. Fucking hell. Okay, fantastic. You sent me over, before that brief prelude, a little bit of information that you wanted to go over with regards to witness statements made by Owens. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I think you should have it in your DM.
There we are. High Court of Justice. Okay. So this is a first witness statement. To be clear, this is a witness statement. Was this ever used to actually overturn was this actually ever used to overturn the judgment against you in Britain?
So we use that as evidence that the 2016 lawsuit had some issues, but the judge didn't take the evidence because there wasn't enough additional information. It was just kind of this document. It was only until a little after here, my lawyer, Adrian Bauer in Texas, was able to uncover essentially everything and make his motion. So we didn't really have a proper timing for this one.
Well, to be fair, I
so
guess
we didn't.
It makes sense that the UK courts don't necessarily want to like relitigate the entire trial, right?
Right.
Right.
That's correct.
So this is so okay. So has a court in America seen this and weighed in whether this does in fact violate your constitutional rights?
So the federal court has seen this in the motion that was ignored and denied and sent up to the appeals court, but it has never been thoroughly gone over through a hearing, a trial on the merits or anything.
Okay.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's one of the big things that I'm hoping to at least get my one chance to actually get some form of hearing about this.
Okay. I guess if they've looked through and reviewed and ignored it, does that maybe kind of speak in your mind to perhaps the validity of this evidence?
No, because the reason on top of the ignoring, it was like a 1-page ignored with like a paragraph on it. All they said was that I showed up to trial and there's nothing else to do, but that's not what's in the law, and that's not what fraud on the court is.
Okay.
They weren't showing anything that how this guy did from day one.
Was this to the Texas Supreme Court? Was this to an appellate court? Was I guess who was this to?
This one right here is actually to the High Court in Britain.
Oh no, sorry. I was asking about the motion that was filed in Texas.
Oh, the motion was filed in federal court in the same exact case as the video games lawsuit.
Okay, fab.
Which I will add, the plaintiffs actually ignored everything. They saw that this judgment was under threat, and they actually ignored it. They didn't file a response. We gave them all the chances to do it. Months and months went past, and they totally ignored it. And all I got was text messages from Brandon's face saying, yeah, whatever. No one's going to pay attention to a 10-year-old case anyway, so we're just going to ignore it. But, and that's all it was. So
to be fair, I mean the judge also ignored it, right? The court ignored it. It wasn't just that they didn't respond, which might be like silly to do because it leads to like an improper kind of like a summary judgment, perhaps, maybe. But yeah, anyway. So, business and property courts of England and Wales, the very best in the world. Okay, first witness statement of Bob Wilson. I, Robert Wilson of Law Offices, will say as follows. I'm an attorney at law practicing in the state of Texas in the United States. I make this witness statement in support of the defendant's opposition. In support of the defendant's opposition to the claimant's application for summary judgment on their claims against Miss Bone and Mr. Martin. Otherwise, unless otherwise stated, the facts and the matters set out in this witness statement are within my own knowledge. I was the trial attorney instructed on behalf of Marco Prissip, one of the defendants of the underlying proceedings of this matter, resulting in the judgment issued. I made filings on behalf of both Mr. Prissip and Mr. Martin. I can confirm that my instructions in relation to the claim brought by Mr. Keating and others from Marco Prissip only. I did not take instruction from Mr. Martin. I did not at any time receive instructions directly from Mr. Martin. I confirm that I understood that the instructions I received from Mr. Prissip in relation to the proceedings were not on behalf of Mr. Martin. I understand that Mr. Martin's position was that he appeared in the jury trial in relation to his claim under a misapprehension, and that he considered he had been led to believe that he was only as a witness and not as a defendant against Mr. Prissip. I cannot speak to Mr. Martin's state of mind or understanding was. I can only speak to Mr. Martin's communications with Mr. Prissip. I can only confirm... Okay. So, okay. What is this? This is just saying he never received directions directly from you, right?
Right, yeah. It's keeping me from knowing anything that's going on. It was always from, Marco or from himself.
Well, it seems like, okay. It seems like you were happy to leave this in in Marco's hands, right? Because you said that before.
Well, no, because he kept telling me that was his problem, not mine. It was him and his old, investors that were having issues. That's literally all it was.
Okay. So what date is this on? July 22nd, 2022. Okay. Wait. I've got the judgment here. Fucking hell. Okay. I've got a lawyer friend who I think has been watching and has decided to take a look in. For some reason, he has had a look into this and he's found the judgment document. I don't know if there's something in particular he wants to point out in here. Are you okay if I just bring him on really quick?
Oh, I don't mind at all.
Yeah. Windy.
Sure.
Now is your time. Where is he? Hop in the waiting. Why are you sending me 20-page long legal documents?
Holy cow.
Yeah. Ah, here he is. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, Major Windy, attorney at law?
I'm not an attorney at law. I'm not an attorney in that sense, and I'm not practicing at the moment.
He
But
gives me
that's okay.
legal advice all
That's
the
okay.
time, though. Anyway, what's the
No.
what's the part of this legal document you wanted to share, mate?
I was just having a look because it looks like it was all about whether the other side had been served properly. So there's references to let me just find it. I had the particular one. So there's actually two. There's this there's one, a different one I haven't sent you. There's one in September of 2022. And then there's one in November, and then there's one in December. There's a whole bunch actually of these cases. I'll just send you I'll just put the link in side chat quickly so you can see all of them.
But then in 2023, it looks as though an enforcement motion was overturned. Is that relating to this, Brian?
Well, I can only see ones from 2022. But it looks like there was there was questions about let me just check the ones I've seen. Sorry, I'm on my phone at the moment. I'm not on my desktop. Let me just check the one I sent you. But you just keep talking.
Yeah,
and so so what's the story? Is that there was this enforcement motion, and that's gone through? Is that
if
correct?
You're watching the stream right now, it seems like it's been reversed and rendered in part, and then remanded in part. And then the opinion here was filed in, February of this year. So it seems as though this is ongoing. Oh no, this is in Texas. Wait, what happened in Britain? Did you actually get, stuff seized?
Was that my question?
Oh yeah, did you get, assets seized while you were in Britain?
Yeah, Holly was the target in Britain.
And was that successful?
Yeah,
Did they manage to kind of sell off those and to pay this thingamajiggy, this lawsuit?
Yeah, she ended up getting some bank accounts frozen, businesses frozen, money stolen, and then her house. She ended up losing her house, and then her businesses. But since this has been reversed, she's actually actively going to be filing into court probably within the next couple of weeks or so to get everything back, reverse it all.
Can you go to paragraph 61 and 62, Dickers? Don't read the whole thing necessarily, but just have a skim. So was this Brian? So it sounds like in Britain they've said that you've effective service, and they're going to give you like an enforcement judgment. This was in the case in the 2788 case.
Wait, this is 21 and 22.
Wait, could I point this out before? So because I think people are going to get a little confused. So you're going to see the word Futuristichub LLC quite a bit. You see that? It's no longer Brandon Keating anymore. Brandon Keating's shell company is Futuristichub LLC. He's using that name to hide behind his personal name. He signed over his portion of the judgment to Futuristichub.
Wait,
so you're going to see
that
word
hide?
Futuristichub.
Because it seems like he's
It is. It is to put the. It is to actually, because he signed over the judgment and all the interests over to that LLC, and he still has full control over it, and he claims he's a manager, and whatnot of it, but no, he's full on. He knows what he's doing. He's full on hiding from the consequences that are most likely going to happen.
Well, it seems like probably he's. I guess that makes sense, right? If I personally have got like liability against somebody else, they're like, I've essentially got a judgment against them for however many million. And then it's like, fuck, well, I don't personally want to hold on to what is essentially like a huge line of credit. I can then give it to my company. My company can essentially buy that from me. And then they hold that. Because then you can start doing like financial agreements with that as the credit, right?
Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah. So 61 is, in addition, counsel for Mr. Martin has drawn my attention to part of the transcript of the evidence at the trial of the original proceedings in which Mr. Martin denied knowing when Mr. Keating had entered a lawsuit, and in response to the question, quote, "And yet Mr. Keating has sued you, is that correct?" he answered, "No, not at all." 62. In my judgment, however, none of these matters are sufficient to raise a defense with any real prospect of success. That there was a breach of the English court's view of substantial justice in the original proceeding, or any ground for objection based on public policy, or a breach of provisions of the Human Rights Act 1998. And then for the following reason, Mr. Martin has presented no evidence whatsoever as to the matter in which service upon him is said to have been defective. First Amendment.
Yeah, you don't need to read all of these. Okay. But like basically, so was he claiming that he didn't know there was a lawsuit as well?
Yes.
Or he was...
Well, yes. he knew there was a lawsuit. He just didn't know he was a defendant. Oh, no, sorry. He didn't know what defendant meant. But he didn't know that it was, like, against him.
Yeah.
62.1 correctly points out that the British court, the English court, didn't know they didn't have any evidence of that, because we didn't uncover that until my lawyer in Texas was digging through and finding all this evidence to create that motion.
To be clear,
so yeah,
your lawyer in Texas,
premature.
Is he I guess what would I say? Is he paid on retainer, or is he paid like based on the winnings? Is it like no win, no fee?
No, this was a fee that was given like years ago, and so it's a flat fee lawyer for the specific issues. So anything having to do with this case stuff, he's gonna do work for.
This might be a little bit invasive, so feel free to tell me to fuck off. But would you mind sharing how much you paid for that legal his legal services?
I couldn't really say too much, because I know that it'll just get spinned off by what's his face says is watching this. So yeah, I just couldn't really get into that.
That's totally fair. That was a cheeky question.
So this is interesting. So just to clear, you're Mr. Martin. I'm just getting very confused on the name. So you are Mr. Martin, just to clarify.
Mr. Keating is the plaintiff. He's Mr. Martin. Mr. Prissip is the co-plaintiff, and then Marco Prissip, sorry, is the co-defendant.
So this 62, these paragraphs from 62, all these subparagraphs are a bit disturbing. So it says at the beginning of 62.5, at the beginning of the trial, Mr. Wilson clearly stated that Mr. Martin was a defendant and that he represented him. Mr. Martin was present and seated beside Mr. Wilson when this announcement was made. He did not then or at any time afterwards object or inform the court that Mr. Wilson was not his attorney and that he required time to prepare his case.
Well, what's disturbing is that they're expecting me to be a fully educated lawyer. So I guess I'm supposed to raise my hand and say, "Hey guys, just so you know, I would like to require some time."
Not at all. No, there's no expectation of that.
No. I know, but if the problem is,
there's no expectation.
1 second. Okay. So just for
I understand.
the opening
I understand where
arguments,
they're going with that.
Like the opening statements. Is this in reference to?
So
Wendy?
we can't focus on the trial. Okay. We have to focus on what happened before trial. That's where the fraud on the court is. I mean, day one, I'm supposed to be, given my rights here for due process. And I
I
see
don't want to read out.
Yeah.
I don't want to read out 62.2. Is this an old address? Is this a current address? I don't want to read it out necessarily, but it's saying that there's no in 62.1 and 2. There's no defective service here. What's it saying?
That's his. That was his lawyer in another case, I believe.
So, I mean, if they had, do you say that you hadn't been served properly? Like, they would serve you material saying you are being sued, you are a defendant. And in fact, that's one of the things that comes up. 62.3, the first amended complaint stated clearly that Mr. Martin was a defendant, both on its face and repeatedly within the document. And they're saying that this had been served to you correctly in the subparagraphs 2 and 3.
But it wasn't.
Is there something wrong with it?
Yeah, you could see that the service was given to Wilson's office in Texas, along with the petition. So I never saw it.
Because he was added as a co-defendant later, Windu.
Right. Yeah, I was in California at the time. But if you see the summons photo, the actual summons. No, California at the summons was sent to Wilson.
Oh, in 2015.
In May of 2015, yeah. Yep. So I moved to Texas in, I think it was probably around July of 2015 is when I went to Texas. So yeah, in May of 2015, I was actually in California out of state. And that summons, along with a copy of the petition, I'm assuming it had a copy of the petition because that's usually what they have.
Wait, so you added to the lawsuit,
given to Wilson.
And then 2 months later, you moved to the state where you were being sued in. But it wasn't because of anything that you knew about this lawsuit.
No, it's because Marco wanted me to live closer so we can work on the video games channel together. That's what it was. We were actually planning, I got a 3-bedroom apartment. We were planning on having him move in, because he lived with his parents and he still does. But, we were having him move in at the time. But that didn't really work out after the issues.
So when did you move? So they had this California address, and they said that their idea was that they were going to personally serve you, and that's what they went through with, and that they had confirmed your address with one of your colleagues, Mr. Princip. So when were you not at this address? Is that the contention here?
I was at the California address, but the summons itself was actually sent to the Texas office of Robert Wilson.
Who was representing the defendants.
Yeah, I'm just saying that here they're saying that's just that they contest that. I guess that's what's been said here is that they personally served you and they knew the address was correct. But when did you first see the complaint? Then did you ever see it before trial?
The complaint I didn't see the summons until 2022.
And when you sat there, when you sat there, did you not find it weird that they said? Did you think witness and defendant are synonymous? Because they're obviously not. I mean, it's just through osmosis. We would all know that they're not.
No, I didn't find it all weird. I just thought that Marco's telling me that I've got to protect the channel and against these people that are after him in the channel. So I got to be answering questions. And at the time, I'm an owner of a 50% owner of the channel. So if they're going to say my name and whatnot, okay, that's perfectly fine, I guess. I mean, I'm the owner, and I'm just going to answer questions. But that's it. That's literally all it was. I had no idea what was going on.
Mr. Martin acted jointly with Mr. Princip in instructing new attorneys to mount an appeal against the 2016 judgment. In doing so, he raised no ground of appeal or complaint that he had not been properly served, that Mr. Princip had forwardly given instructions on behalf but without his authority, that Mr. Wilson had no authority to represent him, or that he had not realized he was a defendant or had a proper opportunity to defend himself, or represent himself, rather. So was this not brought up earlier?
No, because the only thing that I told my appeal lawyer, Mazin, at the time was, hey, listen, I don't know what was going on, but I don't recall anything of this lawsuit. I've just been told to show up, and that's it. That's it. That's all I told him. I mean,
did your lawyer not look at the document and see he would know what the defendant means? Did he not look at it and think, "Oh shit, you were a defendant"? Did he not review anything?
I don't know what Mazen looked into. I just told him what I told him.
He absolutely reviewed the original documentation.
He probably reviewed only like the motions and maybe the petition, so he can do a successful appeal for both parties, which is Marco and myself.
You don't think he reviewed the judgment he's appealing against?
He did. He reviewed everything.
So he would know then that you're a defendant, and he would have, if you had said to him, I was not a defendant, I don't know what's going on. I just find it hard to believe that if you represented him, you were just a witness, that he would have said, "No, bro, you're a defendant." I don't know. I find it hard to believe he wouldn't have raised that. And then the appeal.
No. During the appeal, I never mentioned that. Like, I never literally drug into it saying that I was frauded or anything like that. I just said, hey, I don't know what's going on. I just know that I was supposed to show up as a witness. That's all I said.
You did discuss that with your lawyer, right? And your lawyer said that he didn't want to bring that to trial because he thought it was irrelevant.
Right. He thought he would argue something called diversity jurisdiction, something about people being in different states at different same claims, different states or something. And having to do with a YouTube channel being a separate entity. I mean, that's what he was trying to go for when you were reading the opinion from the 2019 appeal. And that was pretty much it. But as far as he didn't, I know he didn't care about anything else other than that. And I wish, though, that he would have been better. I wish that he would have asked me more questions, or at least had a sit down with me to chat about my involvement in the lawsuit, but he never did that. All I did was just work my ass off with Holly and with all my friends on making content and, providing for a family. And that was pretty much it. That's all I cared about. And it was 5 years later, I was attacked with Holly, and my family were attacked, which led to all these issues happening, and then having to uncover what Wilson actually did.
Did you tell the lawyer that you were just a witness, or not? You didn't know anything. Did you tell him that you were just a witness, and that was your understanding?
Yeah, I told him. I said, "Hey, Marco Marco and them, they just said, hey, I'm supposed to show up as answer questions as a key witness. So I don't know what this is supposed to mean." And he just flat out said, "It's all right. Let me get all the information. I'll handle it." And that's all we can do right now is because there's a lot of problems. There's this jurisdiction thing that I want to argue, and this and that. But that's all he did, and it was very quick. I mean, we did not have a relationship, a type of attorney-client where you talk to your lawyer so many times where you understand it. It's just I paid him to represent the appeal, and he did what he did, and that's all it was.
Didn't you say earlier that your lawyer at the time, your appeal lawyer, said that he didn't think you'd win on that, and that's why he wanted to argue something else?
Hold on 1 second, Jose. Your appeal attorney, you didn't know and said you wouldn't fight it because you went. We're talking about Brandon. You're getting that mixed up. We're talking about a different situation. Go ahead and ask the question.
I was saying because you just said to Windy that the lawyer just didn't want to argue it. He wanted to argue something else. But you said earlier that didn't your lawyer say at the time that he didn't think you'd win on that argument?
No, he actually said that he really thought we were going to win on his arguments.
No, but
he was so confident, and that's
didn't he think that wouldn't be a winning argument?
Oh, you mean like the fact that I was a witness and I wasn't aware of everything? Yeah, he just says that none of that's important. He was shutting me off.
I think that's because it's fanciful. I think it's a fucking fantasy that you wouldn't realize that any of this that you weren't a defendant. And just like this British court has said, it's fanciful. I tend to agree. I just find it very hard to believe.
Well, the problem is, though, the evidence that was dug up after this, motion this judgment you're looking at is overwhelming. I mean, against Wilson and against everything else.
But it hasn't been seen by a court,
that Wilson was.
Yeah.
It has been seen by a court, but not the proper trial of the merits. So it's been seen by the federal court, but again, they're just trying to argue. It was ignored. Yeah, they're just trying to argue on a trial level. It's not fair. I mean, if I'm sued, I'm supposed to day one be involved in this lawsuit, and I wasn't. I wasn't given any opportunity to participate. The only opportunity to participate was, again, when I was told to go to the trial as a witness and answer questions. That's literally it.
Have you thought of negotiating a payment plan?
So right now, Brandon is trying to do a settlement for $1 million. Again, that tells you how this is. He's trying to talk a 20 million or whatever judgments down to $1 million with like 15,000 a month or something for the course of 3 years. That's what he's trying to do. So case in point, that proves that this is not a 20 million dude. It absolutely is, but I don't make that. I don't make any of that. And he knows this because when I filed for bankruptcy, it was my job in my petition to show every single asset that I have or any money that I'm making. And so nowhere near that did it show what it was that they're asking. And so I have tried to talk with him about it. I've tried to reason, and his excuse was, oh, it's not just me, it's the lawyers and Ty, we don't think that that's, I said, well, that's the fact that he's trying to settle, or they're trying to settle for $1 million, talking down for a $20 million judgment. That says that shows you their position, that they know that it should never have been this much.
Or it sounds like they know that kind of otherwise they'll never get their money, and so they're happy to kind of like lower it. It sounds like they're offering you a little bit of an olive branch to try and find some way that you could realistically pay for this lawsuit.
But if they really want to realistically offer an olive branch, don't start at 15,000 a month or whatever. I mean, you gotta be reasonable here, and stop attacking other people's channels or channels that I work with, because that source of income could be used to pay off specific settlement, right? But they're not. They don't stop doing that.
But did you?
So if you're going to cut off my ability,
like a response to that?
Well, no, there's no response for the. I mean, I've told Brandon straight out about it. I've told him, here's what I think is fair is, why don't we sign a settlement agreement? Why don't you let me for maybe a year or so, me and my team, why don't we start fresh on something? And then we can start the payments, on things that are definitely possible.
Have you submitted that in writing?
But right now, yeah, and it's been rejected because all they want is 15,000 a month, and for like 3 years they want 50% of any channel that I work on or with. That's all I get. That's everything that I get from them is unfeasible. And now they're going on. They went on Gamma's stream saying that I was having crypto hidden and that I've like $16 million in crypto, which is really ridiculous because they showed up in my bankruptcy case on a creditors of the meeting with no mention of that whatsoever. And anything that they were accusing me of, my trustee, the trustee, should I say, of this case, and the United States trustee confirmed that I am not committing any type of fraud transfers. And they have just signed off that I could get my discharge if I want to. And there's a screenshot from May 12th that proves that.
But would
they show my assets?
Would that be over like traditional wire fraud? Like traditional kind of like things where you're making bank transactions? Or does that also cover like crypto holdings? Because fraudulent transactions would be very, very different to having crypto that you can access and sell.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. David Moss went on and he first said that they found a crypto wallet in the house that Holly used to live in and I used to live in. They claim, this is going to tickle you. This is how funny these guys are. They said that there was $80,000 of a thing called Ethereum or something in it, ETH. They claim that there was that much money in it. But then they told the trustee they need me to give them the private keys so they can access the wallet.
Yeah.
And the look on the trustee's face was like, well, wait a minute. You just told me the contents of the wallet, but why are you now, accusing Brian of needing him and the private keys to access what you already have access to?
Well, no, the wallet information is public.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but I mean, you know this.
So
If you have you ever held crypto before?
No. The crypto that I was very close to was with my ex-wife, Chrissy, and she actually has crypto. There's no denying it that she took the money that she got in divorce and she put it in crypto with her her boyfriend.
Together, have you ever owned crypto?
No, I'm not interested in the whole crypto thing. I don't understand how anyone could. I can go on a tangent on it, but if I was to do anything, it would probably have been stocks.
Okay.
Because but no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not into the whole thing.
The problem is that you can see, for example, if I have a crypto wallet, you can see on the open publicly how much kind of like Ethereum, how much Bitcoin, how much whatever is in there, and yet if you wanted to access it, if you wanted to get that funds, you would need me to give you essentially my password, right? It's like a private key for you to be able to withdraw those funds.
Yeah, but
it's like a bank account that everyone can see the balance of.
Yeah,
but hold on. If you find a, correct me if I'm wrong, because like I really don't understand. But we're talking about them finding some sort of a wallet in a house, right? Is there like a name for that wallet?
Well, it's going to be a public key. If they find a public key file on a computer.
Okay, but if they find some wallet, say you go to a house and you find a wallet, right? Are you able to access that wallet?
You can access to see the contents. Windy. Okay.
Wait. Anybody can steal that wallet, plug it in, and you could just see the contents.
Well, anybody could see the wallets. Anyone could see the contents at all. So long as you've got the public key to the wallet, you can see all the prior transactions. Yeah.
Okay, because the way they were saying it is they said they've just found this wallet in a house, and that's it. And then they saw that there was
Did they take possession of computers?
No.
They took possession. Did they not take possession of Holly's house?
Yeah, but no computers or anything. They claimed they found a wallet. That's all it was.
She didn't have phones or tablets or desktops or laptops or nothing?
No, anything, the computers or anything else, that would not have been there after taking possession of the house. I think what we left behind was like a couch and a bed or something. And I think that was pretty much it. But yeah, so that's why I'm asking you about the whole wallet thing, because here's the problem I have is they claim they found this wallet, and they accused me of this in the first meeting, as well as accused me of purchasing 2 mobile homes. But then in the second meeting, they never touched base on it. They forgot about it.
Well, I don't know if they forgot about it. Maybe they just found they couldn't really prove that you had access to those things.
I think they lied about it. But I think they lied about it. I genuinely think that they did, because they know the trustee is actually going to look into this. They know it. The trustee has to trace all the money and the fraud that they're accusing, and I think that's what it was, because bankruptcy cases are very serious. They could be potentially criminal if they're going to be lying about these things or making these false accusations. They can be done for bankruptcy fraud.
But why?
And I think that's what they're being very, because you can't lie in a bankruptcy case like this. You can't do these,
Yeah, but it may well be that they didn't actually lie. They just were earnestly incorrect.
Well, I mean, there's no proof, though, because remember this: if they're claiming they found a wallet that belonged to my estate, they should be sending that wallet to my trustee or to the trustee, right? That's what they claim. If I have an estate, then they should be sending that
I think this
wallet
is
to the trustee.
This might be an argument over nothing, because it seems like they never brought it up again.
No, if you're right, and I think that's because they knew that there was nothing to send. That's all. They're afraid of getting caught up.
Well, they likely later realize that,
right,
but they might. It seems odd that they would lie about it one time, knowing that the trustee is going to look into it and find no evidence, and then what? That seems unrealistic to me.
Yeah. The whole thing is, though, this is a very complicated case. There's a lot of angles to it, and there's a lot of things that happen that should not have happened. There's a lot, and so I am gonna answer the question if I may, because we're touching base on it. The reason why I didn't file bankruptcy for so long is because there was not enough evidence to prove that the debt was fraud. Because you can't discharge fraudulent judgments. You just can't. Unless you can prove that there was a form of fraud that created the judgment. And we got that in 2022. And so what I did first was file the motion in federal court. That took months. That took over a year to even be heard.
Wait,
not heard. I'm sorry, to be answered.
So do you need? So even irrespective of this current of the judgment against you, you still need to file for bankruptcy because of debts.
Yeah, I filed for bankruptcy to prove that I'm not a fraud, that I'm not doing no fraudulent transfers, which the trustee did look into and has signed off on it and says, yeah, okay, yeah, Brian told the truth. And so that's the number one thing to do, is to file for bankruptcy, prove your assets, and then get the discharge. The unfair thing is Marco got his discharge. I didn't. I think that was really messed up. They knew that that Marco filed for bankruptcy. They didn't fight him about it, and he got his discharge, even all of it, even though he orchestrated the first part of this entire lawsuit by not paying these guys. They allowed it. And from what I heard, Brandon on Gamma's thing, he said, oh, because Marco's dirt poor and we know that what Brian's capable of, so we're just going to keep stealing from him, taking money from him.
Well, it seems
he didn't say steal, by the way. I want to put that on record. He didn't say keep stealing. He just said keep taking. So he just said keep taking money and such like that. But I think that's highly unfair to the fact that I didn't do anything to them. It was Marco that did in the first place. So they are allowing
found you
him
both
to
liable,
discharge.
right?
And
then
the
upheld it on
jury
appeal.
is the one. Right. Yeah, the jury was the one that was. Well, I mean, the jury didn't like me anyway. I was pretty much yelling on the stand anyway at times. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, they were trying to accuse me of having this phone number. They were accusing me of having this. They were trying to do this. They were trying to, and I was getting so worked up. I didn't know what was really, happening at some points, and I blacked out on a few things. But the jury did do what they did. I don't think they even understood how YouTube worked, and that showed it. And that's when the appeal went through, and didn't get it because the diversity thing just wasn't good enough.
Okay. I would say,
at
least my 2 cents from kind of all the looking into stuff that I've done before, the kind of talk with you that I've gone through over the last few hours, going over all of this, I feel like the best course of action would be, instead of pursuing bankruptcy or trying to chase this down, well, maybe you've got other debts that you need to do, but okay. Instead of trying to chase this down in the courts, instead of trying to relitigate this, literally, I'd probably say you'd have your energies better spent trying to come to some kind of settlement. You're clearly a very, very talented guy. You've made a lot of money. You've kind of gone to channels with millions of views. I think kind of maybe cleaning up your act, trying to see if YouTube will let you come back, offering some kind of contrition, trying to get kind of that relationship back in order. It seems to be you accepted earlier that it may actually be that you had a little bit of an incident of rage. You kind of blacked out. Maybe you did threaten people. Maybe you did kind of do some kind of malicious communications or, kind of harsh words that makes YouTube not want to work with you anymore. Probably work on kind of improving that relationship and then kind of work on the settlement. But I feel like, kind of chasing this issue down kind of is probably a road to nowhere.
Yeah, it's fair to say, but like I said, my success as I sit here today, my success would not have been possible without a team, without my team, without a team to work with, it just wouldn't have been. And, even Holly doesn't want to do anything anymore. It's to the point where we just don't want to do anything anymore. It's no longer it's not really, it's just not fun. And, when it comes to any of this stuff, it's just not fun. We tried settling. I tried settling. And it's not going to work because what they are constantly asking for is just impossible. I've put out, I accepted the 1 million. I accepted that offer. That was a good number. I thought that was fair, just as you said it would be quick and fair. But the way to try to get this paid off has been completely ignored. I mean, they automatically think that
the negotiated
I'm made
like
of
payment
money,
detail
and I'm not.
is the deal, right? The money and the way that they want you to pay it back.
Mhm.
That's the deal. Like the money, the 1 million figure, is just an aspect of that deal that you offered. You counter offered and said, okay, cool, that sounds nice. Give me a year to get something upstarted.
I did.
And they rejected
It was
that.
denied.
Did they come back with an
Yes.
offer? Or did you give another offer after that was rejected? Your counter offer?
No. They just kept saying payment should start on June.
It sounds like you've done
June of this year.
It sounds like you've done one round of negotiation then.
No, we did about 5 or 6 rounds. And that was not just through me. That was through my appeal lawyer, Susan, and then through their lawyer, Craig. And we just and also a little bit on the phone with text messages with Brandon, trying to hash it out. We really did. I mean, I'm not lying. We really tried. But for some reason, they are expecting me to be some rich dude who has money. I mean, if that was the case, then there would be no need for crowdfunding or anything. There would be no need for that. But we are in a very serious problem here.
Well, the money's not going to you, to be clear, right?
Well, it's going to the legal fees. I mean, I know my brother, and my brother's not going to just up and right, take anything. It is going to go to all legal fees. He's been verified. I've asked about the website. I said, okay, so this website's legit. He said, yes. I said, okay, so can you show me any proof that you've been verified? He showed me the emails. I saw the emails. I said, okay, so he sent in his ID. He showed the proof that, where the money's going. He showed the linked accounts, all this other stuff. And that's it. But if it doesn't get anywhere, honestly, I told Kevin the same thing. I said, don't take any money out. If we don't have anything from this, just give it back.
Yeah,
just give it back.
Fair play.
I mean, that's a fair thing. I mean, it's sitting at $5.25, and I appreciate, to the bottom of my heart, anybody who has donated. But when it comes to this type of defense, when it comes to the legal fees, it's got to be a lot more than that. And if I come to the point where the bills are due and we know that we just can't pay it, it's just going to be refunded. And I think that's it. I think, there's nothing else to do, because I'm just not going to, I'm not going to be, a part of this type of thing where people are giving money and that money just disappearing. They gave it to the cause, and that's all there, that's all there is. So, time frame wise, I think in about 3 or 4 months we'll know if this is worth it or not. In about 3 or 4 months we'll know if this crowdfunding is going to be refunded or not.
Wait, what court fees are you talking about? Because your lawyer's already paid for.
Well, the fraud on the court claim extends to the bankruptcy stuff as well as the Supreme Court possibilities. And so what we're focusing on is the fraud on the court issues. We're using the fraud on the court claim in bankruptcy to prove that the debt was created by fraud. With the evidence that we have, the evidence that the plaintiffs ignored, we actually have that going into the bankruptcy court.
But
and
the lawyer that you
if
said
that's the
you've
case,
already paid.
No, that guy was for the federal court, not appeal court.
Isn't he arguing everything relating to this matter, or is he not arguing the bankruptcy case?
Oh no, he's not a bankruptcy lawyer. They're a totally different lawyer. There's actually 3 active lawyers on these cases. So the federal court lawyer is going to be Adrian Bauer.
How are you paying for
Susan,
all these lawyers?
These guys were paid years ago when I was still in England.
Okay,
when
so
Holly
they've
and I
already
were
been
still
paid.
In England. Yeah, they were paid a flat fee to do what they're doing.
Okay, so what court fees do you need to go for?
This will be bankruptcy and it's in the Supreme Court of the United States.
Have you even filed with the Supreme Court though? Because that would be the next step.
If we don't, well, no, if we don't get the appeal, say if the Court of Appeals denies that one, we can still take it up to the Supreme Court if we can. But I mean, if we're allowed to.
The Supreme Court only takes like 5% of all cases that are like presented in front of them, right?
Oh yeah, but
and they take ones
extreme public importance that have some sort of general, like, publicly important principle, like abortion and things like that. You're not holding hope for that, are you?
Well, in this case, we're arguing if a lawyer is even allowed to represent a proposed client behind their back. And this has never been done before.
That is known already. I mean, they don't believe this.
No. If you read the brief that's in appeal court, my lawyer correctly cites that this is a first impression. It's never been done before.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that gets argued and, is never taken up for the first time. There's a lot of people who tried to argue that, there's people who over here try to argue that the land law doesn't apply because the Bible has provisions. That doesn't mean they're going to take it because something's novel.
Right. So we're talking about case law. So in the United States of America, there's never been case law about this. There's one thing that came kind of close where, and we already correctly cited this, there was a lawyer who a client did hire, and the client did know that this lawyer existed, but they were doing motions behind the client's back.
To bring a case to the Supreme Court, it has to have some aspect of novelty, and so that's not a guarantee the Supreme Court's going to hear it. That's just like the lowest bar at which they will hear it.
Yeah,
the Supreme Court gets hundreds of cases before them, and they only take, God, what is it, about 50?
Yeah, I don't want to get into a huge debate about the docket control of the Supreme Court, but they don't take many cases at all. They take a tiny fraction of them. And everyone thinks that their case is going to be the one that's really important, but they never do. It very rarely is. I would not hold out your hopes for that. They already have appeal courts that are perfectly competent to decide things like this.
I mean, yes and no. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is a different type of, it's a very conservative court, if you will, and they do bash heads with the U.S. Supreme Court.
Have you looked at the makeup of the Supreme Court right now?
The Supreme Court, I'm looking at the website right now, the FAQs. The court receives approximately 7,000 to 8,000 petitions for a writ of certiorari. The court grants and hears oral arguments in about 80 cases. So this is a 1% chance.
I understand, but it is a first impression though, and I think that's something that can be looked in. If it's a first impression, I think the Supreme Court of the United States would actually be very interested in it.
But mate,
because it does have to do with the fact that a lawyer
crowdfunding for a case that you haven't even presented to the Supreme Court yet.
No. My
even if you do, it's only got a 1% chance of even being heard by them.
No, my brother's also crowdfunding for the bankruptcy stuff. Because remember, we're using the fraud on the court for that as well.
But the fraud on the court is being argued by a lawyer that you already have paid, right?
No, not fully.
But it needs a bankruptcy lawyer in addendum. I mean, not in addendum, but as well. Wait, the term bankruptcy isn't included once in this fundraising.
No, but it's fraud on the court though. It's a historical fraud on the court case, because what we are doing is we are going to prove in the bankruptcy court fraud on the court.
Wait, is Supreme Court mentioned? Oh, mate. The Supreme Court is mentioned 3 times, and bankruptcy isn't mentioned once.
That's totally fine.
This is a Carl Jobs situation. You're not potentially not being very clear about what this money's for.
To be fair,
what we're getting is slightly different.
You haven't created this. It seems like your brother's created this on your behalf, but I feel like he's misrepresented this.
Well, I'll ask him about the whole thing, but I mean, because he did, create it, he wrote it, so I could ask him, if he left out the bankruptcy or whatever, because I did tell him it has everything to do with the fraud on the court.
Yeah, but
that's what I told him.
But it's a fraud of the court argument in a case that's already had an appeal, and is now only being argued in the context of a bankruptcy. I mean, the bankruptcy? Is it fuck? I've completely forgot the 2 different types of bankruptcy. Is it restructuring, or is it a kind of a more severe bankruptcy?
No, this bankruptcy is just to discharge all the debts.
Okay.
Well, I think you're thinking of like insolvency and bankruptcy is that it differs. Where insolvency, like in America, they've got a Chapter 11 protection where you can try to, like, basically avoid bankruptcy by going to sort of this protected status where you try to work it out. But they've got that. I don't know if they have the equivalent in Britain. This sounds like bankruptcy. That's usually more associated with corporate.
I mean, I can't really put this question to you, I guess, since it was created by your brother. Is your brother available to hop on and talk about the GoFundMe? It feels unfair putting the questions to you.
Well, he does not want to publicly, have anything to do with this because he was publicly attacked anyway, and especially on Brandon's YouTube channel. So he does not want anything to do with the whole drama thing. He just wants to help out what he can.
Well, I'm not trying to rope him into drama. I'm not trying to attack him. I'm just asking about the GoFundMe that he's created.
No, I understand. He just doesn't want to be dragged into anything.
Would it be possible to ask him? I mean, I don't mean to press, but I feel like this probably needs to be answered to, and obviously I can't really press you on it.
I'm actually I'm gonna have dinner. I'm gonna have dinner with him and his wife pretty soon downstairs. So I'm most likely gonna ask him why he didn't talk about the bankruptcy thing. It's possible that he just left it out and just wanted to focus on the whole fraud on the court thing. Because that's what I was talking to him about.
Do you think it was important or incumbent to check it if you're taking money for this sort of thing, to check what's in the...
Well, no, because it's for fraud on the court. That's what we're arguing in bankruptcy court.
Did you have a look at this? But did you check that all the details that you had wanted, that you communicated, were in here?
What?
You said that your brother might not have included all the stuff that you might have told him, or all the details.
I read it. Yeah, no, I read it.
And you thought it was fine?
Oh, I thought it was fine.
So why do we need to talk to your brother then if you looked at it and signed off on it?
It wasn't an in-depth talk. I just looked at it and said, okay, that's great. It says fraud on the court. Thank you so much, Kevin. That was it. And then that's it. That's literally, I mean, we don't have to, listen, guys, we cannot be doing this type of stuff where you guys expect me to know what I is or crossing my T's or dotting my I's. Can't do that. That's not how I run, and that's not how I think.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you've made this clearly in collaboration with your brother. This dropped on the same...
It doesn't matter if I'm... No, listen.
Windy, don't do...
First of all, don't give me this adult crap because I'm autistic and I have mental problems.
I didn't say anything about being an adult.
Do not expect me to be an adult, please. Don't expect me to be normal.
Don't expect you to be an adult.
Do you need to be a ward of the state? Do you need to be a ward of the state then?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have to know all this nook and cranny stuff because it doesn't cross my mind.
Why are you not doing an application to become a parentspatrie or like a ward, or like have a guardian instead of doing this bankruptcy stuff?
Why am I not what?
Why are you not applying to have a guardian appointed then if you're this incompetent and can't look after yourself?
It's the personal debt that's on me. I got to get it away. So obviously, that's the point of a bankruptcy discharge.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about me not being competent enough, yeah, it's true. There are things that I just don't know, and I don't have to know them until someone who's educated will point that out to me.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not educated. For the people
donating to know.
I'm talking about all of this stuff that led into today, where the whole thing. I mean, none of that stuff was pointed out to me until it's been pointed out to me by a competent, educated person.
Okay, if I were to watch your video, if we go to your video, do you mention this being in the context of bankruptcy anywhere?
So,
in your video that you made,
yeah, I mentioned bankruptcy in this video. Yeah, I said that they're not letting me have my bankruptcy, and I need your help.
They allowed Marco Pritchett to discharge in bankruptcy. Even though I've filed bankruptcy, they're still trying to fight me in how unfair. Okay. If I see how many times the Supreme Court is mentioned in this. Oh, fair play. You don't mention the Supreme Court. I'll eat crow on that.
Yeah, no, I'm focused on the fraud on the court and such. So, yeah, I mentioned bankruptcy because that's kind of my current position right now for the fraud on the court claim. is going to be the bankruptcy situation. Now, hey, if I win the bankruptcy stuff, that'd be great, because then it's over. I get my life back, and it's over.
And bankruptcy is a pretty rough thing. It's not. No one looks forward to bankruptcy.
Well, yeah, no, I don't. Especially $20 million of debt. That's horrible too. That's debt slavery. Not to mention these creditors, they're not operating within the law. That's why they're losing these appeals. They are literally taking people's ability. Like, I'm a debitor, so they're taking my ability to have any money to make any payments on anything.
So, and just to clarify, don't give me a spiel. Just like a 2-word answer. Is this fraud on the court argument? Does this go back to the you didn't know you were being represented thing?
Yeah, that's the 2016. I'm going to argue the 2016 case was a complete fraud.
Right. Do you not find it concerning that the you're talking about going to the Supreme Court? Do you not find it concerning that this British court thought it was completely fanciful and saw no reason to consider any of it?
And the 2019 appeal lawyer.
Not really, because this out of country court doesn't operate under the same laws. You guys don't have fraud.
Yeah, I know. Yes, we are aware of that. But they've assessed,
so I'm okay with that.
They've looked at the original proceedings and the rules of procedure there, and it's not like we're talking about an ex-imperial country. It's not that different, bro. Like, let's be real.
It is a sister court.
No, it is. It's a different system, though. Like, you guys don't.
Jurisdiction, okay, under the same Hague Convention that allow for this sort of foreign registration shit.
Yeah, but not the same laws, though. So sorry, but
it's
that's where we're at.
It's not that different, brother.
So when I see them saying that on the judgment, I guess they just don't understand what happened in the federal court. Well, so that's if they want to put a judgment out there.
The problem is if you're arguing a novel case that isn't already accounted for the law, which is kind of what you are arguing if you want to take it to the Supreme Court, they will sometimes reference the decisions of sister courts, i.e. Britain, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, all that kind of stuff. And so if they've already ruled that this is kind of fanciful, that may in fact, so far as I understand, be brought up to the Supreme Court. Another sister court has already considered this.
They didn't, but they didn't show any case law, though. You were talking about different cases, right? They didn't reference any of that stuff.
But they argued that you being sat down when he said, yes, I am representing the defendants, this person, that person. They consider that to be sufficient for you to be aware at the time.
Yeah, they have the evidence in front of them. Yeah.
They didn't have all the evidence. Like I said, the fraud on the court motion that Adrian Bauer had drafted was way after. Like, this is before he got, everything together to file in for the fraud on the court motion in the United States. I think that's what
Marco.
Well, I had no basis to, because Marco's not a lawyer and he wasn't legally obligated to tell me about the lawsuit, to be honest.
But you've alleged that Marco and this Mr. Owens, have conspired to keep you ignorant of this lawsuit. So is there really no basis for a lawsuit there?
I can't really name Marco as the person who really conspired to do it. I haven't done that either in any of the filings. It's always been Wilson. I have a genuine feeling that Wilson was the one who was behind the wheel. I think Marco was just there. Well, because I would have been a third plaintiff against his own case.
A third plaintiff against his own case? You're a defendant.
Yeah, I would. No, but I would have been a third plaintiff if I would have discovered the case and discovered that email from Brandon and Marco.
Why would you have been a third plaintiff?
Well, because the email clearly said that they were colluding. Brandon and Marco were going to collude behind my back and take money.
I don't know what email you're referencing.
I should have. Okay.
That's okay. It's okay. To be fair, that might. I guess the conversation may have run its course. But I am interested to hear, and I guess follow up with what happens with the court, whether it gets taken on. Whether it gets ignored, maybe it gets argued, and whatever happens, I am interested to hear more.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I hope that...
Who advised you about the Supreme Court thing? Whose idea was this?
What idea of the to take it to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Well, my appeal lawyer obviously would have to do that to take it. If she doesn't win, the appeal, then she'll have to write a writ.
Well, they suggested it, or I'm just wondering who suggested this, and are they being paid up front, or are they taking a contingency?
My appeal lawyer is handling the appeals.
Is she being paid up front?
She's already been paid up front, yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. All right.
Okay.
So I don't think they're going to take this one on contingency on winning in the Supreme Court.
Because it's arguing to a different court, it wouldn't be applicable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's all in the appeal stuff. I mean, right now we're in the bankruptcy court, the federal bankruptcy court, and that's kind of where the fraud in the court is going to be first heard, if you will. That's exactly where I'm hoping to get my first, United States hearing on the merits. Not an English court. The English court didn't understand anything.
Do you think His Majesty's courts aren't good enough for you?
No, they're. I would say they're very ignorant to American law.
You didn't even know what the word defendant was. Are you going to be kidding? You're going to tell the courts?
Yeah, I am. I absolutely am. I absolutely am. Even my own solicitor said the judge didn't know what they were talking about.
And this is the solicitor that lost.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah. This is the solicitor in This is the current solicitor, Maria, in which is Holly's solicitor. Now, said the same thing. They didn't know what they were talking about. And then my lawyer.
This was a female solicitor.
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
Yeah, and my lawyer. I'm sorry. What?
Is she a diversity law thing?
No, she's
he was talking about diversity
solicitor.
Jurisdiction, Wendy. Okay, you're Australian, you're not American, you wouldn't understand it. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I wouldn't understand. What is America?
What is going on?
I think Wendy's just having a little bit of a silly moment, I think. He's trying to clearly make some very misogynistic joke about your solicitor being a diversity hire. Very lazy, very offensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's an excellent lawyer, but I don't know. I'm concerned if they're telling you that, we can take it to the Supreme Court. If they were that confident in it, they should be paid on contingency, because then they're invested. If they say, we'll take it to the Supreme Court, I've already been paid up front, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. That would alarm me.
You have to go through the ladder, you have to let it get heard in one court, and then you got to take it to a higher court, and then the final higher court, which is the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah, but you're not always going to advise that. If you don't have sufficient prospects of success, it is irresponsible to advise your client to go through with that. And it's irresponsible to waste the court's time as well. Appeal is not meant to be like an automatic thing that you always do.
Actually, no. In a lawsuit, that's exactly what the trial lawyers do, is make sure that they do the case to prepare it for appeals court.
So they prepare to lose. They intentionally lose on the first round, so they can appeal it later.
Just in case. Awesome. It's a contingent, just in case they lose. It's always good to be prepared.
Okay. I don't know if okay. Never mind. One thing I did want to ask you, I guess, before I let you go. Probably something you could maybe clear up, because I've heard some discussion, and I don't know if it goes back to anything legitimate, to do with, I guess, whether you have, especially with the kind of the outrage, the kind of the rage that you have, the outbursts, the kind of lack of memory. Do you suffer from a kind of borderline personality disorder, or some people have said
yes.
schizophrenia, or
my aunt had schizophrenia.
Okay.
But I have a feeling, I believe that I've got some personality disorders. As far as multiple, I don't think it's multiple. I would say it's more closer to bipolar, and a couple other disorders.
Okay. Have you ever been to I guess, to get that diagnosed? Or is that just like what you kind of think, you kind of theorize?
Oh no, I did. I sent, I believe I sent Gamma copies of my diagnose to show kind of an outline of what it was.
Really?
With a signature of my doctor. Yeah.
You sent Gamma your medical information?
Well, not the whole packet, no. Just like a screenshot of showing kind of where the outline was and a brief summary. Because the whole packet will just show you the test that I took. It was quite boring.
Okay.
They made me take all these different tests. But speaking of Gamma, he's in here crying about, what is it? Sorry, not crying. I apologize. He's wanting your attention about 15 minutes.
15 minutes? Wait, like 15 minutes? Oh, he's talking to somebody else in chat. Don't worry. Don't worry. Anyway, I guess
I did tell Gamma not to show like anybody. He's been really nice though. I props to Gamma though and the whole thing. But yeah, I did send some stuff.
Yeah, Gamma is a nice guy. Yeah. Anyway, I think that is about it. I don't think I've got anything else to grill you over. Okay. I think that the conversation kind of run its course. It's been interesting speaking to you. It's been interesting kind of getting to grips with a lot of the stuff. But yeah, there we are. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say before I let you go.
As well. I mean, that's it. I really just hope that that I can get out of this and that I can get my life back and my family can get their lives back. And I just hope that justice can be served one day.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'll chat to you later. Very much enjoyed speaking to you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. I just want to talk to you for a moment, Dickers, see if you got any questions.